I always knew that I wanted to get into real estate. I'm still a police officer, but that starts taking off. I remember a specific weekend that I collected like $20,000. I was like, man, this is what I make in like 5-6 months as a police officer.
What was your biggest deal? Because you were out to break my record for a little while there.
The deal itself wasn't hard.
No.
But that's where everybody misses the boat right there. I ended up walking out with the deed of the property for $6,000. And we ended up making $266. And the reason why I pushed so hard to break the record was because you said it. I was like, man, there's no better feeling for a mentor that somebody who sets a record, hasn't been broken for ages. There comes along the person who he says is the best student.
Yeah.
And breaks the record himself. Once you see a $250,000 deal is another thing.
Yeah.
And prior to us working together, I couldn't see more than $10,000 on a deal. I had never made a $250,000 in a year. So we go from that prior to you to being able to make a $250,000 on one deal.
All right, what's up, people? Welcome back to Flippin SoFlo. This one, to me, is a pretty special one for a lot of reasons, but I have Oscar Quintana here in the house. He is my best success story student, but also has become a good friend today. It's great to see him grow up, not in age, but through the business, right? I see a lot of young me in him. That's always been the case. I think you were 24 when we met.
25, yeah.
25. Yeah, so I remember I got started at 25. We all had a beginning, but he's a special dude, and I respect very little people in this world, and he's one of them that I respect because we'll get into the details, but he actually says what he's going to do. He does what he says, and he's disciplined as shit, much more than I was at 25, 26, 27, that's for sure. But I love the fact that you're here, bro, so I appreciate it.
No, man, I'm super thankful to be on. I've been wanting to be on, and I'm glad that we're finally doing this.
It's about time, bro. This one's going to be a hot one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we're going to get started towards the beginning, right? Obviously, we're both from Miami. You're from Hialeah. I'm from Westchester. I'm not going to hold it against you, but...
We're both Cuban.
We're both Cuban. You know, like one's more Cuban than the other.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we're both from Miami, same marketplace, which I think you would agree is a very unique place as a marketplace.
You have everything in one.
Yeah, it's ultra competitive, ultra shady. That's the other side. And man, it's sharks out there. That's for sure. So I always say if you can make it in Miami and you can actually make real money, like 7 figures and up in a year, you're a champion. Because it's really hard. It's so much saturation there, and it's very fast. You know, if you're not from there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are your thoughts? I mean, what do you think about the Miami market?
I think it's not for everybody, but I recommend that anybody who wants to get into the wholesale space, fix and flip space, like definitely start in your backyard. So if you're in South Florida, Miami is the market to try to dominate.
Yeah. And, you know, what do you think? Because I get this question all the time, dude. It's like, oh, man, it's so competitive. It's so saturated. Right? So they naturally try to flow out of Miami. I mean, what do you think about that? Because I think it's bullshit, honestly.
I don't believe in it at all. When it comes to competition, man, I felt like there was competition when my skills were low, right? And then throughout the years, start gaining skills, you start surrounding yourself around the right mentors, etc. You start getting better, and you start realizing that things that you can see on a deal, the next 10 guys, 10 women, they can't see.
Yeah.
So the competition starts diminishing.
Yeah, so the more you practice, the better you get.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And again, it's not, you know, I'm very vocal about education, but not all education is created equally, you know? I catch a lot of flack from a lot of people because they're like, oh, bro, you're always shitting on people. And I'm like, dude, you're teaching people very low-end stuff. You know, it's not that hard to wholesale, right? A monkey can do that.
Yeah.
You know, the basic cookie cutter, prop stream, this, and pull the list, and 30% plus equity, right? I've been there, done that. I've been that dipshit, trust me. That's only going to get you so far. And, you know, if you're doing that, and the masses are doing that, I mean, you can't be shocked when it takes 1,000 people to get a deal.
Yeah,
right?
that's how it was for me when I first got started. I actually wanted to get into the real estate space when I was a police officer.
Yeah, so let's go back to the beginning. So before you were in real estate, you were a cop.
I was a
For like
police
10
officer.
seconds, but you were a cop. No, I'm
It
just
was for like a year and a half, 2 years. But as soon as I became a police officer, I always knew that I wanted to get into real estate. So I followed a couple individuals on Instagram. That was around the time where wholesale was really getting hot.
Yeah.
And a lot of people started doing education on wholesale. So I followed a couple people who were in the space and would always post pictures of houses that were super distressed, selling them, making $20,000. And there's this specific girl by the name of Erica. I have no idea where she's at nowadays, but she was in the wholesale space, and I remember just DMing her, being like, "Hey, I saw one of those as I was driving, as in my patrol car at the time," and she's like, "Oh, send me the address." I sent her the address. I guess there might have been some kind of traction there, and she was like, "Hey, why don't we meet for coffee or something like that?" I was like, "Let's do it." So one day after work, I went in my police uniform and my car. I met with her at a Starbucks. We chatted. She let me know a little bit more of what it is that she did, and I had no idea, to be honest. I had no idea.
Yeah.
You get a property in the contract, you're selling it, you're making the spread, but I was confused by the whole thing.
Right.
But I knew that was where I wanted to be, right? And then we fast forward. I actually end up, as I'm still a police officer, I end up getting into my first fix and flip. Because
God
one of the
bless.
customers that I was selling windows and doors to while I was a police officer, right? Because I was a police officer and I was selling windows and doors on the side, right?
Yeah, so hustling.
I was hustling, exactly.
Yeah.
One of my customers for that was actually the Dispo for Tal. Small world, right?
No kidding. Wow.
He was doing fix and flips, and I remember going up to him. I was like, "Hey, look, why don't I put down funds and we get to do a flip together, and you get to teach me, and I'll put up the funds that you don't have to put up."
Let's stop there for a second though,
Yeah.
because that's a nugget for anybody watching. That's adding value. You see, he's not taking anything. He's saying, "Hey, why don't I put up the funds so you don't have to put up the funds? You can teach me, but you can make money with me."
Yeah.
It's the same thing you did to me, and we'll get to meet like how we met. But dude, like, same thing I did with my first mentor. I was like, "Hey, teach me what you know. I'll put up the money for marketing. We'll split the first 5 deals 50-50. That person has a non-lose, scenario there. And they're definitely going to pay attention to you more than, "Hey, can we meet for coffee so I can pick your brain?"
I've never used that one-liner, but I've heard it from time to time because people
God.
actually start to approach me with that, and
It's the worst.
my answer
bro.
is just no or no.
I always
response.
tell them, pick your nose, not your brain.
Yeah.
Like it's
I've
so
always liked
silly.
that saying.
Yeah, it's so silly. So you're doing this, and you get into your first flip.
I get into my first fix and flip. Meanwhile, my windows and doors company starts taking off. For 7 months of business, we're doing over $1 million of revenue. I'm out here thinking I'm rich. I have no idea what revenue.
And you're how old?
I was 23, 24.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
No, I'm sorry. I was actually 22. So I was 22.
As a cop and making that kind of money in
Yeah.
another business.
Yeah, correct. And that's revenue. I just want to throw
Yeah,
that
yeah,
out there
of
because
course.
I had no idea what revenue was, profit, none of that
Yeah.
stuff. But that starts taking off, and I remember a specific weekend that I collected like $20,000 in just deposits for like orders and stuff like that. I was like, man, this is what I make in like 5-6 months as a police officer. if this never happens again, and I just do this every one and every 5 months, financially it just doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So I was making about $3,000 as a police officer after taxes, just so you get an idea.
Working how many hours?
Man,
50,
a
60?
standard 40-hour shift, and then I would always try to pick up overtime. They,
Yeah.
they called me like an overtime whore. Yeah, I would sign up for all the overtimes, and based off of seniority and stuff like that, you'd be able to get them. But I didn't have a lot of that.
Yeah.
So it was tough. I wanted to work. I don't believe in working 40 hours. I want to maximize every hour that I have. So I've been wanting to do that since young. But what ended up happening was I transitioned. We ended up getting our first fix and flip. So I partnered up with this gentleman, Manny. Very cool guy. I'm still very cool with him, to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And my windows and doors company starts taking off.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go, starting to get distracted.
Split focus.
Here we go. So I'm getting into fix and flip. I want to learn this. The windows and doors company is doing well. I'm like, man, but what about this wholesale stuff? I'm like, that's sexy too.
So
right?
he's a cop. He's making this money in windows and doors. He's like, let me get into a fix of it. But wait a minute, there's more.
Yeah, I was like, this is sexy. Like,
Yeah,
you don't have
God.
to swing hammers.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
You did it
don't
backwards,
you don't
too.
have to spend money that was how everybody
Yeah.
sold you on it back then.
Yeah.
Then.
No money down. Yeah.
So I was like, well, let me start doing cold call. I could do that a couple hours of the day.
Yeah.
I go into my shift. My shift.
shift.
I already had the windows.
Sounds like Fred Flintstone. I
Yeah.
go into my shift and I clock in.
I already had the windows and doors company going at this time, but I was trying to do cold call in the mornings, right? So I just pull random lists and I tried calling. So all in all, man, it didn't pan out. I didn't learn much from the fix and flip because I wasn't intentional.
Did
I
you
wasn't
make any
there all
money?
the time. We probably made about $20,000.
It's not a lot on a fix.
It
It's a
wasn't,
lot of risk.
and it was. I didn't get to learn not because of the individual I partnered up with, but because of me. I was split between multiple things. So that didn't really go anywhere. I didn't learn a ton. The wholesaling didn't go anywhere because I was investing an hour or two a day, right? And you expect to get the kind of results that you get now.
Oh yeah.
And then the windows and doors company that started doing well. But I noticed very early on that later on I'll bring it back. I had a mentor in that.
Yeah, you told me about him.
He wasn't quote unquote my mentor, right? Like he didn't charge me a mentorship fee or any of that stuff. But he was the person who I was buying the product from. So I'd buy the windows and doors from him at a price, and I would resell it, and he would teach me throughout this entire process. So for months and months and months, I was learning the entire business because this guy has spent 30 years doing it.
Okay.
Right. So that's pretty much what allowed me to take off and start getting sales in through the door in that business.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm picking up a lot. I mean, I know your story because we worked together for so long, but for any young guy out there that's like, thinks you're working right now, you're not. You're not working. Like, that's working. You know what I'm saying? He was putting up a full-time job as, like, literally a career, a cop. That's dangerous work, first of all. You were in Brownsville. That was fun. Area. A lot of fun there. A lot of driving for dollars in there. A lot of shitbox properties there. Then he's doing the fix and flip. Then he's trying to do some wholesaling, and you're crushing it for all intents and purposes in the windows and doors.
Yeah.
So you're making the move is the thing I want people to pick up is that he's not thinking a lot as he's doing this. He's just like move, action. That's the key, and that's why I told you like you would always be successful, and I knew it from when we first met because it was the same thing for me. Like I don't need a lot of theory. I don't need the fucking book and the. Oh, let me know how it, dude. Just what do I gotta do? That's the door. I knock on it. Boom, done. Next door. All right, boom. 100 doors later, I'm gonna be a G. but you gotta go through that process, the iteration.
We've always related in that sense where we just need to just let us know in which direction to go.
Correct.
We'll figure it out.
1 millimeter, I'm good.
We'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. We won't be cheap to hire mentors or coaches or whatever's needed, and we'll always reinvest into ourselves. So that's something that we've always shared.
Yeah, bro. There is no secret, but if there was a secret, it's that, dude. It's just massive imperfect action. Mm-hmm. I'd rather done than perfect. I don't need, nothing's ever going to be perfect, first of all. And it's always going to be changing because business is ever changing, it's ever evolving. Like 3 years from now, 2 years from now, wholesaling might not be a thing. Who the hell knows, right? Exactly. Like they're trying to ban it and this and that, whatever. Shit happens, right? There's a lot of things that people didn't think were going to happen, and then AI hit. And that's that.
Changes everything.
Yeah, like people are like, oh yeah, I'm still gonna have a job. I'm like, no, you're not. People are gonna be talking to an AI therapist.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? You'd rather talk to that. You know what I'm saying? Like call agents, right? That's revolutionizing so many industries. But again, if you can pivot and if you can learn some skills that are very important, which is marketing, sales, relationship building, consistency. We were going over that today in the content. But you could do anything. I believe 1,000% I can go and start any business right now if I was dropped anywhere and I'd be successful. Inside of 12 months, I'd have a 7-figure business.
I agree. I was actually talking to somebody the other day who's getting new into entrepreneurship and whatever. It's a she. I was having a conversation with her and I pretty much told her, I was like, if you learn how to hunt and kill, you'll never starve.
You're good.
You'll never starve.
You're
the
good.
Other skills, they're going to be a little bit more difficult to get. It all starts with marketing and sales though.
Yep.
So if you can learn how to hunt and kill, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and even if you suck, dude, like I really sucked at cold calling and sales. It was not my thing. I'm not naturally an empathetic person. Yeah, you chuckle, but it's true. I could tell you stories about that, but I don't care. Like I'm willing to take an enormous amount of action, and again, through the numbers. It's a numbers game. If I talk to enough people, I'm gonna be right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like dating for a lot of people. Like when people get shut down, like I'm engaged now, but when people get shut down, they're like, "Oh man," I'm like, "Bro, are you kidding me?" You just talk to more girls as a guy.
I look at that, no different, man.
Yeah, bro. Like you're gonna, like, oh, you only applied to one college and you didn't get in. I mean, loser. Like, you should apply to 10 colleges. Like spread it out. But so you're going through that. Obviously, at this point. What do you do? Because you got a couple things going on. You decided to, focus more on the windows and doors.
Yeah. So the windows and doors was
And why? Because it was paying you more?
it was it was paying the most, and it just required the most of my attention. So
Okay.
the first 7 months in business, we do well over $1 million of revenue. I had no idea what that meant at the time, but really only 9% of companies even ever get to that.
Pretty awesome.
So full year 2, we got close to 3, right? And I started to focus more on it. Now once again, shiny object syndrome, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Got one right here.
I started getting creative. I was like, well, if we're doing windows and doors, might as well do the blinds.
Oh, my God.
Right?
This is a young kid just...
No,
like, oh, man,
I'm
yeah.
sharing, and I'm being vulnerable because
Yeah.
I want to share. Like, this is where my mindset was at the time, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, we're doing windows and doors. We might as well sell blinds. If we're installing doors, we might as well get fancy and start installing really long handles that come with their own set of problems, right? These are all the complexities that I'm adding into the business that
you don't even know.
I'm not even sure what problems it's gonna come with, but I'm like, look, it makes sense. We're doing windows, let's do blinds, let's do handles, let's do it all.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing that.
I've done it too.
And I start to see some money. Guess what I was doing with that money?
God only knows.
I wasn't reinvesting it into the vehicle that was making me the money. I was taking it, and I was like, well, let's do this sexy thing over here, wholesale.
Oh, yeah.
I was taking that money, investing very little time into it, right? Competing versus people who were putting up 40, 50. You were putting up 80-hour weeks at this time, right? So I was trying to get deals over individuals like that. I hire a friend to do PPC, right?
This is great.
Yeah, very new to it. So I was just taking the money, dumping 10K a month, doing PPC, getting leads nationwide.
Oh, yeah. No,
Which
this
is
is
a
great.
whole nother set of issues, right? And
Awesome.
I'm getting trailers in Kentucky, and I'm getting this. No, we actually did a deal in Kentucky, the trailers. So that's why
I bought
remember.
one too in Kentucky. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, so we're going nationwide with this. It's a hot mess, and I'm trying to figure it out. I have no coaching. I can't see over 10 grand on a single deal.
No kidding.
So I'm just, the little money that I'm making here and still being distracted, I'm throwing it away over here. And it's just, that's going on for months. I'm not paying myself a salary. I don't understand finances. I don't know how to lead a team.
Yeah.
I'm super distracted, out of my hat, like all over the place.
Yeah.
But we end that year, and I was like, okay, I'm not sure if this is it. Because I didn't understand that for me to be successful, or for me to find any level of success, I'm going to have to stay with something during the hard times, right? You gotta get past that, because that's where majority of people quit. You got to get past that, and then success is on the other side of that. I stick with it for that year. We start the new year, and I'm like, well, might as well get into more fix and flips.
Learn his lesson.
100%. And mind you, my ego, I've done a lot of work on my ego, so my ego was at 100 at this point. We buy a house. I bought a house at the beginning of the year, right? Year 3 of the windows and doors business. And 2 weeks into that, I'm like, well, we might as well buy another one. And then 2 weeks after that, we buy another one. And 2 weeks after that, we buy another. So
God.
I buy 4 fix and flips in a span of 2 months.
Did you use hard money?
I used hard money.
Okay.
I used hard money, the bridge was my money. So I had 4 fix and flips going on.
A lot of monthly
Still trying
carry.
to figure out wholesale.
And
And I had the windows and doors company.
And you got new monthly overhead with the
And you know what
hard
happened?
money.
Muhammad Ali came back. And he hit me he doesn't hit uppercut, so he hit me with a straight punch. And I got knocked out.
No kidding.
That's what happened.
What happened?
I got knocked out. No, literally, like, everything came crumbling down.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the wholesale had stopped. It no longer had funds for me to put into it. The fix and flips all turned bad. I probably walked away with negative money on all of them. The wholesale company, I wasn't profitable. The little money that I might have made the year prior to that, I didn't leave it in the business for hard times, right? And I'm looking at myself like, man, what do I do?
What about the windows and doors now? Where's that at this time? Is it still kicking, or is it not doing so well?
No, it's not doing. It was never profitable to begin with. It was very, very low margins. I didn't understand margins. I was overpaying everybody.
So it looked like a lot of money, but it wasn't.
It looked like revenue.
Yeah, vanity.
But exactly. But I didn't understand the difference between revenue, gross margin, net margin. Yeah. Didn't pay myself a salary.
Is that a slow? I would imagine that's a slower business too.
Believe it or not, it has the cash conversion cycle similar to wholesale.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Now, this was also during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So windows and doors orders got pushed back. You would tell a customer, hey, this might take 6 weeks, and then it got pushed back to double, triple the time. So that hurt us even more.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, you know, a lot of and I know you did this during that time, but during COVID, you used that as a reason to double down on what you're doing.
Yes.
I use that as a reason to get even more distracted.
Well, yeah. At the time, you know, I was in the game for 3+ years, so I don't know. Tall and I talked about it. We were at that time. Our businesses were like at the same juncture. We were the same age. We were living in the same building. You know, it was kind of like a trifecta. But we just had a conversation one day, and I remember it like it was yesterday. We're like, dude, this shit's got to go somewhere. Like, it was May-ish of 2020, and if you can remember, it was a shit show. You know, March was the beginning. No one was answering the phone. No one would let you in their house. Inspectors wouldn't go out. Triple, quadruple masks, hazmat suits. Buyers were literally calling me and saying, I will give you my escrow now. Like, take my 10K non-refundable. I don't care, because they were so scared. So I'm taking back escrows. Gus is like, we don't know what to do. Like, we never, not even 07, 08. Like, this is crazy. And I'm like, well, Gus, this shit's got to go somewhere, right? And we just made the decision, and Tall and Eric did too. We were like, bro, we think if we double and triple down, because we saw competitors leaving. Like, I remember guys selling their shit on Instagram, like office supplies, and firing their employees, like during COVID. We hired their employees, and we bought their shit, and we doubled and tripled down on leads. So 4 or 5 months later, fast forward, we had a pipeline of 700 leads that now started to convert and hit and hit and hit. And of course, now we know what happened. The market went, whew. So we had inventory. Market needed it. Perfect position to be in. Auction buyers didn't have anything to buy because forbearance hit. So they all came to us. And man, we went from, I don't know, 5, 6 deals a month to 15. And it never stopped. And by the time 2021 came, guys tried to get back in, and it was too late. You can't catch momentum.
Yeah.
You know, once that happens, we were the new kids on the block.
No, you guys had captured a ton of market share at that point.
We ate it. We ate it. But again, at the time, shit my pants. It was scary. You know, you're putting out all this money. You're like, bro, I really hope this works, because it was reserve money even to that point, because we believed in it so much. So, but the alternative was, what are we gonna do? Not do anything, right? And we figured, like, my thought process back then was, if guys made it through 07, 08, then we'll figure this out.
Yeah.
You know, like, that was a financial crisis. This is financial, yes, but it's going to get figured out. Like, people still have to have a place to live. That was kind of the general consensus of it. And thankfully, we ended up being right. You know, in 2021, we ended up doing more revenue than we had ever done. But that's a whole nother conversation.
I was so ignorant during that season of COVID. I was still going to customers' houses and installing windows and doors myself.
Oh my God.
With the mask on, and that's how badly I wanted it, though.
Yeah.
I wanted, and that was just me getting out of the police situation, and I really wanted to be successful.
Yeah.
And I was willing to apparently risk my whole life.
Yeah, bro. Like, that's the thing, though, man. Those are the intangibles, you know? Like, I've done a lot of shit that I haven't wanted to. I've had to grit my teeth through it. There's no sensitivity in this game. You know, like, at some point, I don't know, everybody's journey, your journey's a little different than mine. My journey's a little different than Tall and Eric's, or whatever, whoever it is. But anyone that I've met that's successful, at some point, you're going to have to grit your teeth through some shit. And, you know, there's a spoiler alert for you. It's going to take a lot longer than what you probably think it is. You know, like I ate shit from 2017 to 2020. Like, and I mean eat shit, I mean, like, eat a lot of shit to get there. Through a lot of bullshit, a lot of $7,000 wholesale, 10,000, 11,000, 5,000, split 2 ways. Like, all this crazy small shit to have a moment like a COVID and catapult off. So, but when that moment comes, whatever that looks like, there will be another COVID. It'll just be called something else. Whenever that moment comes, you have to be ready. Like, you don't get many of those. Because it'd be a sad day for me to look back now and be like, damn, I missed that window. I didn't miss the window, you know. I thankfully, no pun intended, but I didn't miss the windows or doors, you know. I hit it on the money.
That's exactly the moment that I had when I came across you.
Yeah. So how did that? Yeah. So talk to me about that, because I remember us meeting. But
the way you described it is exactly the moment I had. Sometimes it's with you know, market opportunities. Sometimes it's with individuals. So I was getting out of the window space. Obviously that was coming down crumbling, and I had to make a decision as far as what did I want to do. Did I want to fully focus on fix and flips? Did I want to go all in on wholesale? Or did I want to stay in the windows and doors business? The biggest thing that I didn't like about the windows and doors business was education wasn't as accessible as it is in wholesale and fix and flip.
It's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, like you're talking, for you to really learn the business and the in and outs, you have to either work for somebody who's been doing it for 34 years, but there's nobody coming out with content.
No, I can't see that.
Like, you know what I mean? So at least
Probably a good opportunity for somebody.
Right. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go into wholesale. I know that there's a lot of education in this space.
Plus, you knew it.
I did.
Yeah.
I knew it. Didn't have any success.
You knew something.
Right. I knew
Better than
something.
nothing. Yeah.
But I remember you spoke one time, and this was in the RAL, and then you had a second speaking gig down in Miami, and I had gone to see
Casa Tiki. I remember that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I had gone to see you speak that time, and your buddy Tal was there.
Yeah.
I had spoken to him like once or twice before, so I knew he was, and we had always had like good conversation. So I approached him.
Great dude.
After, because at that point I was like, man, I need help. Like, I don't
You
know.
had nothing to lose. Yeah.
I had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So I go up to him and I'm like, look, Tal, I'm $250,000 in debt. I can't freaking figure this damn business out. What do I do?
Yeah.
And you know what was his answer? He said, I got the answer for you.
That's very tall.
And he goes, he's right there.
Freaking tall, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you, tall. I appreciate you, brother.
So you're talking to somebody. He was like, dude, I'm telling you, Will's your guy. Like, blah, blah. Go talk to him. I said, all right. Yeah, I just finished speaking. So I go up to you. There's somebody else in line. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to tell this guy, but it's going to be something.
For the record, he didn't come up to me like, oh, he bum rushed me. He was like, hey, man, like in my face kind of. And I could see your urgency was like, you gave me like a bunch of word vomit, but I respected it.
There wasn't a specific question or anything that I had planned. No. I was just like, let me lay it all on the line and see where we go from here. So I told you, I was like, hey, look, I've been trying this business out. Haven't had any success. I knew all the success you already had up to that point. And I was like, I will do anything.
You did say that.
I will do anything.
Yeah.
Then I think we ended up getting on a call maybe 2 or 3 days after that.
But you did say something very, very key, which is the only reason why I was interested. You said, I will do anything. And I said, be careful what you wish for, because I did say that. And number 2, you said the magical words were, I have this deal in Miami Lakes already under contract. I'll give you the deal.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what you said. And I did not take the deal from you. We partnered on it, but I would never do that to somebody. But when I heard you say that, I knew I like the add value side, where you're like, hey, I have something. If it's anything, you can take it. So I knew your mentality was in the right place. You weren't asking for something. You were like, dude, I have something of value if that works out.
Yeah, I mean, my assets at the time, I didn't have any money, so I had time, I had a work ethic, and I was like, I have this deal in Miami Lakes, which I know Miami Lakes is a pretty good neighborhood.
That's all you need, bro.
Right, so I was like, I have this deal, and it's hairy.
Yeah.
So
you did say it was hairy.
I approached you with that. We got on the phone. We discussed the deal. I think you saw something right away. You're like, I think there's something here. You saw the play right way before the play. And then we started working the deal. Yeah. Shortly after that, you tell me, this is what you're going to do. You're going to walk into the house. You're going to pay between $5,000 and call it $8,000, and you're going to buy a deed. I had no idea what a deed was. I know you teach this nowadays, but I had no idea what a deed was at the time.
This is what, 2022?
This is 2022. I don't think there's really anybody doing this, or at least making content on it for sure.
No.
So you gave me specific instructions, and I said, yes, sir.
I knew you were a cop. I was like, this is what you're going to do.
Because from the very beginning that we ever spoke, I was always, yes, sir, whatever you said, if make a left, make a right, it was yes, sir. So you told me exactly what to do. Walk into the house, not knowing any better, which actually served me at the time, because if not, I could have probably blew it. Who knows? Mm-hmm. And I ended up walking out with the deed of the property for $6,000. And I called you as I'm leaving. I'm like, hey, I got the deed for $6,000.
And I told you, I was like, you got it? And you're like, yeah, I got it. I was like, good shit. I was like, it was like 2 hours. I was like, the kid's either gonna come out or he's not gonna come out. I don't know what's gonna happen.
The seller was super emotional. You had to be empathetic to the situation, but
it was a retired cop too.
She was a retired cop, so we got along great.
I remember that.
Yeah, and we helped her out tremendously.
She was in a really bad situation too. She had like squatters in there. And
squatters. The house was a mess.
No power.
Foreclosure. Liens and violations that you ended up fixing up.
Yep. No power. No water.
We had to. Yeah, exactly. When I first met the seller, and she stepped outside of the house to greet me, she hadn't been outside of the house in 30 days. Just for some context, like this is what some of these individuals are dealing with.
That's sad, dude.
And I remember while we were getting the contract signed, she showed me around the house, and her bed. I mean, there's no space to sleep.
I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole house was like a couple weeks later, like as we're going through, I think we were doing an inspection or something, and my guys couldn't even get in the bathroom because it was stacked up so high with let's not talk about it, but stuff. Let's say it was really bad, but it was a sick house. You know, in terms of like the bones, it was like 3,500 square feet, a 4.3.5 or a 5.3.5. Miami Lakes Country Club. It was in there. It was on the canal. It had a pool. I mean, I could see it. It was a gem, you know, plus we bought the deed, we stopped the sale, we did a bunch of things. I actually negotiated that myself with the city attorney from Hialeah because they had some LP for the roof tiles.
I remember.
She had like roof tiles sitting up on the house for, I don't know, 3 years or something. And it kept hitting the neighbor's house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was sitting out there for. I remember when we took a look at the house, like on Google Maps, and we got on the phone. We were like, "Are these tiles on the roof?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, they've been out there for a couple of years." The contractors walked out.
Yeah, and I can imagine for you, like I was already, bro. I don't know how many hundreds of deals in. I had seen shit like that, but for you, it must have been like, damn, this is fucked up, you know?
Well, prior to you and I working together, I hadn't seen over 10 grand on a deal. I had seen every figure. I had seen 9, 8. 7. I felt like I had seen every figure except for a 5-figure deal. So that being our first one, and that jump starting what later turned out to be a great time for both of us working together. That was huge. That was huge.
How much did we make on that deal? Do you remember?
That was a $125,000 deal.
Yeah, that was a big boy.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big boy. And for the record, we got screwed because the interest rates started going up heavy. At that time, by the time I figured out the liens and violations of the city, sometimes, guys, it's just timing. In hindsight, I almost kept that house, and I remember that, and I went back and forth. As a matter of fact, with my mom, I was like, "Mom, you just want to keep this like as a rental?" But bro, interest rates were getting so high, and it was such a heavy rehab. It was like a $200,000 rehab, and you know me, I'm not a fix and flipper, and I've got my ass handed to me on $50,000 rehab, so. Mm-hmm. You know, I think we sold it. Don't quote me, but I think we sold it for $650. Her debt was like $460 or $480 plus the liens, plus violation, plus all the shit. We netted like 100, and I think it might have been more. It was like 130 something. But the guy bought it from us. He was a contractor. I do remember that because I usually track the deals. He put Mac Daddy. He did like $200,000. He sold it 8 or 10 months later for 1.4. I remember that.
I remember.
But the market had stabilized. Like, and good for him, bro. He took a gamble. He put his nuts on the table. He did the $200,000 rehab. He crushed it. But again, the house today is probably worth, I don't know, 1.6. You know, this was 2022. So
yeah, it was a great deal.
Yeah, it was a great deal. But that was the first deal, and it was a deed. I mean, you bought the deed for less than what you had seen in wholesale deals in terms of profit.
Literally.
You bought the house.
Yeah.
It's pretty well.
$6,000. You put up the funds, so
yeah.
You made that deal happen. Like I mentioned, I had no money, so I just had time, work ethic, and this deal in Miami Lakes.
Well, look, to be fair too, like I can't save the world, but you know when we started working together, I saw a lot of me in you, and you know, I always thought to myself, in the day that I'm in a position to help somebody, you know, like that, or coach them or mentor them or whatever, you know, I wasn't a mentor. Like that wasn't my job. I was actually an operator. But you know, I saw the opportunity. I was like, well, you know what? I respect the shit out of this kid for the fact that he even got this contract. Like I know there's probably something good on the other side of this. If I tune him up, this kid will be a beast, you know, and he is willing to do anything. Because when I told you to go get the deed, you're like, all right, roger that. Boom. And you came back, you're like, yo, I got the deed. I was like, all right, he can listen.
Yeah.
That's important, you know, for coachability. And I mean, how'd you feel did you even realize what you were doing, like buying the deed and all that?
No, it hit me afterwards when you were on a podcast with Savannah, and you guys were discussing the deal. And you said, oh, yeah, we purchased the property subject to, and you started breaking it down a little bit more. And I remember texting, I was like, hey, can you break down the deal a little bit more? Because I think it went over my head at the time.
Yeah.
But man, it was
a high level deal for sure.
It was, yeah. It was a high level deal. And I want to point this out because you spoke earlier to COVID, and I spoke about, you know, Sometimes the opportunity that presents itself is a market opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a relationship opportunity, coaching opportunity. You never know, right?
Yeah.
A partnership opportunity. But during that phase, you were getting into education.
Yep.
And you had, I think, less than like 3 students. You didn't have
3 or
many
4,
students,
something
right?
like that. Yeah.
So when I realized on my end the level of knowledge that you had, and I'm like, I want that. I don't care about money. Money is not important at this stage.
You've been there, done that.
I don't care about. I'm like, I want the knowledge because I'm struggling and I can't figure this industry out. And in the prior business, I figured it out because I had a mentor. I'm like, okay, let me run the same playbook.
Smart.
Yeah, I literally did the exact same thing. I didn't tell you that up front, but my intention was always from the very beginning, let me show him who I am through actions.
Yeah.
Because what majority of students would do is they'll come, they'll partner up once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times,
Yeah.
and then they'll get greedy. And on the 4th deal, they'll say, oh man, that 90K deal, I don't want to split that one.
It happens all the time.
And that's where you lose it.
Yeah.
So what I did during that time was I told myself, I don't know how long we're going to be working together. This is a conversation I'm having with myself. I don't know how long we're going to be working together, but for however long that is, I'm going to give them everything. That means all the time in the world, all the effort, every single deal that I get. I don't care how much it's for. Like, I'm just going to over-deliver. And because we're both the same way in that sense that we're always trying to deliver value to the other person, you extremely over-delivered on your end with time and I mean, man, so many calls.
Yeah,
Like,
we did a lot of calls.
A lot of calls, right?
Yeah.
But I recognize the opportunity.
Yeah.
You're new into education, and that's what made me to just want to give you everything.
Well, it was smart. I mean, I was my stock wasn't that high at that time as an educator per se, but it was really smart because I enjoyed the shit out of it, bro. Like for those of you that don't know, like we ended up working together for 2 years, right?
It was, yeah, for a 14-month period, and then after that, we still were doing deals.
Yeah. So I mean, it was obviously it's reciprocal. Like none of us had to continue to work together, and I always told you, I was like, bro, like you're not bound to me. You know, whenever you're ready. You know, like you can fly away and do your own thing. And I wanted to see you win because I never like held you back or anything. And I think that's something that like mentors do from time to time. I see some guys doing that, and listen, more power to you, but I don't agree with that. You know, the mentor has to let the mentee go off into the wild at some point because, you know, that there's other things to learn, right? And they have to go and learn their own thing. But it was a great learning lesson for me too, because I had never really coached anybody. You were the first guy that I coached at a real deep level. Like, all right, I'm going to pour, because the more you poured out, the more I poured in. And I was like, all right, I'm going to pour everything into this kid because clearly he's receptive. He cares. He's appreciative, which is rare, you know? So for me, when you're a master of any craft and you see that in someone else, you're like, oh, bro, like, I've been waiting for this shit for somebody to, you know, to know what they have in their hands, you know? So for me, the more I poured into you, I'm like, bro, this kid's just, and then you started getting into a rhythm where you're like, yo, I got this one, check this out. Da, 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 da. And you know, we had a lot of good times, man. We
I think that's how great relationships are formed. It's a constant friendly back and forth of who can give who more value. And it's just, it goes on for 5, 10, 20 years. And it's, I mean, that's the way I view relationships. I'm always trying to over deliver to the other person.
We made a lot of money too.
We did.
Yeah. I mean, you got out of debt.
Got out of debt in 6 months. Because I remember calling you specifically, and when we had closed it, I don't remember the specific deal, but when we had closed it, I was like, hey, man, I had sent you all the screenshots for all the money I was in debt for. And I told you, I was like, I'm back at zero.
I'll be honest with you. I hung up with you and I cried. And I was talking to Savannah, like I cried a little bit because, you know, I know what that was like. And I didn't know because it was out of the blue when you called me. And I knew you were in debt, but like I forgot about it, you know?
Yeah.
But to see, I was like, damn, like, that was quick, you know? But I did get emotional because I told her, I was like, bro, this kid's out of debt. Like, that's pretty, for me, it was humbling because I was like, wow, I helped this kid get out of, you know, $250,000 worth of debt. That's a lot of money, you know? That's a lot of money.
I was paying down double debt at the time. And this is where, once again, a lot of students and people that want coaching, mentorship, that they go wrong. So I was paying down financial debt, and then I was paying down ignorance debt. So, I mean,
that's a real.
We were JVing on every single deal, and I wanted it that way because I'm like, you have the most valuable asset out of both of us. You had the knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So he who holds the knowledge holds all the power.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted. So during that time, that 6 month period that it took me to get back to zero, we had done about 500K during that time, and then that's how I was able to get back to zero. But it was tough, man. personally, I didn't know anybody around me when I first got into that hole, who had been in that hole and had gotten out. So there wasn't really anybody who I could look to. But I remember you had tremendous amount of success, and during the time where I was distracted and doing all these things, I would always like pay attention to what you were doing. At the time, you didn't do a lot of content, so there wasn't a lot to pay attention to.
I know. What a shame.
But yeah, every single time you would speak at a place or whatever the case was, I would always try to go and be present.
No, I appreciate it, man. That's why I always tell Antonio too. I was like, bro, you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
You know, if you are a person out there putting out content, like you're putting out content today, and I've always told you that, you never know who's watching. You know, that young guy, whatever it is, that's going through whatever shit, you know, like you were, like I have, whatever. There's always somebody out there that you're affecting. You might not know it. Most times you don't know it, but it is affecting someone, and you know it might be your next partner. I don't know. Yeah. It might be that big boy on top of me that says, "Yo, I've been watching you. You know, let's come over here." That's just how life works, you know. But that's classic example of always putting in the work.
I went down on your Instagram to the very last post. I'm like, what was he doing at my stage? I knew that this was pre Willy numbers, reverse flip the whole nine, and that was when I was still trying to figure out. I was like, man, what was he doing like at my time? And you had a couple pictures here and there of like these are the KPIs for the day, or a stack of direct mail postcards.
Return,
so but I would read into it, and I would see the comments, and any little nugget that I could pick up was always the intention.
Yeah, man. I look. You know, to watch you have gone through your journey like in real time, right? That was cool because it let me relive a lot of moments that I had already been through. And I'm like, look at this kid, bro. Posted something on a Friday night, kids in front of the computer. I was like, I remember that shit. You know, like those little moments where nobody gave a shit because nobody was around me. It was just me and my ex-partner. Yep. Like we were the only ones doing it. So there wasn't like a, hey, bro, way to go, man. Like, there was nobody there. It was like an audience of zero. So, but those little things is what compounded into, damn, you know, many, many moons later. And that's why I think it's hilarious. Like, social media is such a great tool, but it's also hilarious. You see now me here, but like, this is the product of many, many, many years of all the shit, you know, the dick punches through all that time that culminate to shit like this, you know. And the same thing with you, you know. Who the fuck? You're like, you putting out all the windows like with nobody there, you know, with a mask on. You're like, mother, you know.
Man, I tried. I sucked at installing. I feel bad for a lot of the customers' houses that I installed that I was not good
I'm
at
gonna
all.
pull a list of all the ones that you installed. I'm gonna be like, look, you got Windows problems. Okay,
man, it was bad.
This is a lawsuit waiting to happen. I'm gonna buy your house. It's bad.
It was bad.
People are like category 2 rated hurricanes instead of 5.
But it's funny that you even mentioned that the whole installation, because very similar to how I approached you is how I approach installation. Like I went to my mentor at that time and I was like, look, man, I just want to learn how to install. I know delivery is an important part of what we do in the window business. I'll install for free. I know you're cheap. I know the handyman that you sent out to property, you want them to be installing huge windows by themselves, but they need an extra 2 pair of hands. So let me go work for free. And that's how
It's
I got into
bro.
it.
Bro, look. God rewards the man who is willing to do more than the next guy.
Yeah.
It's true. You know, if you're willing to get dirty, and especially at the beginning, like at the beginning of anything, if any of you guys are prima donnas, like don't even talk to me, bro. Like when you have nothing and when you have shit, you better be willing to get down and dirty, because that's the season that you're in, by the way. Like, make no mistake about it. You don't have the luxury of like, oh, I don't do that. You better do that shit, because there's nobody else that's gonna do it. And I see guys get stuck there for so long, where they're like, oh yeah, I you know, my revenue sucks, but I don't door knock. And I'm like, says who? Yeah. Wait, you're getting smoked right now by the kid that does want to door knock because he's hungrier than you. So I do my best to, you know, even nowadays, I do my best to not lose that, you know, not lose that angst to. And it obviously looks differently, but that angst to, you know, you see me at the office. I'm in the office a lot, and people are like, oh man, you work too much. I'm like, you work too little, dude. You're a bum. You know, like I enjoy what I do. I genuinely enjoy what I do. And I'm 34, bro. Like I have a lot more to give. And the more I put into this game, the game is very reciprocal. you know, it always pays back, right?
Yeah.
And in spades.
That was another thing we always had in common. We never were believers of the whole
Work-life balance.
work-life.
There's no such thing.
Which is fine, to each their own. But
Yeah.
if you want to reach massive amount of success, I just personally feel like you have to be over-indexed on what it is going to get you there.
You see, and he uses words like that, which tells me how much education he's done. Over-index. You know, like there's very few guys at his age that are speaking like that. But that's a testament to how much education you've done and how much self-learning you've done. And dude, I'm super proud of you, bro. Across the board, it's not to get like all cliche and stuff, but like I really am. I'm very, very proud of you of where you're taking it.
No, I appreciate it. I want to share that there's a realization that I came to like in the past couple quarters. So we had our run, right? I got coaching a couple times after you with different individuals or whatnot, and I would always go to workshops and go to this, go to that. But I've came to the realization probably like a quarter ago that I never not want to be getting coached.
Mm-hmm.
I took a look at the biggest companies in the world. They're public companies.
Mm-hmm.
They all have board of advisors, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are individuals who are teaching them, coaching them. They're
Consulting.
looking right. They're consulting. They're looking at things that the entrepreneur might not be seeing. So that they're looking over their blind spots. And I remember Dana White joined Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook or Meta now. And I was like, man, that's interesting. Why would Dana join Meta? I was like, well, he has a different perspective that Mark probably doesn't have. So
100%.
he can see blind spots that Mark has that he doesn't notice. And I was like, yeah, I've came to the realization. I was like, I never now want to be getting coached. Sports teams all have coaches on the sidelines. Fighters have their coaches in the corner. But then small entrepreneurs,
They think they could do it all alone.
They try to do it all on their own, or they try to be cheap with it.
Yeah.
And we said this before the podcast started, but cheap and good don't go hand in hand.
Yeah, they don't. That's real number 2, by the way. I like to bookmark them. But there's an expression in Spanish, lo barato sale caro.
Yeah.
And it's, brother, when it comes to education, there's a reason why people go to Harvard. And just to use that example, there's a reason why there's the Marlins, and then there's a reason why there's, the Yankees. Yeah. They're both in the MLB. Both professional teams. I've never played baseball professionally, so I can't talk shit, but I'm just saying it's a little bit different to play on the Marlins or to play on the Yankees. The fan base is different. The market caps are different of the teams. The owners are very different. It's a very different sphere. And, wholesaling, real estate, all that stuff. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but there's different calibers of coaches. It's not the same thing to get coached by an Alex Hormozy versus the guy owning his 5th gym. Yeah. It's a little different.
Yeah, and different coaches for different phases, right? We had a season where we were together 14 months, still doing deals for like about 2 years. Then I had a 6-month period where I was with Tiff and Josh, and that was great. That had a season. Yeah. Now I have a season now where I've been with Neil. He's been awesome. We've been together for 4 months, but I just came to that realization. I'm like, man, I don't know it all. I won't ever know it all, right? I have a ton of blind spots. I have weaknesses. I want to have a coach that can just be there at all times to point that out to me. And sometimes I need a push, right? I'm typically a driver. I don't really ever need a push, but sometimes I need a push in the right direction. Yeah. Because I'm driving in the wrong direction. Yeah. Right? So that's what a coach is for, man. And it doesn't matter in what season you're in. Like, if you can just over-deliver. With whoever you choose to work, just take their word for it, man. If you decided to get coached by them, don't feel like you know it all. Yeah. If they tell you to make a left, don't make a right. Yeah.
Or don't ask if you put the blinker. Like, that's one thing I always said about him. Like, if I told you left, you weren't like, oh, should I check my mirror? Should I put my blinker? You were already turning left. Like, if you hit a median, you would hit a median, but you turned left.
You had been where I wanted to go. Mm-hmm. Why am I trying to go? Like, I tell myself I'm not that smart. Let me just copy and paste what somebody's already done. Yeah. You've gone through so many battles, walls, headaches.
A lot of concussions.
Why would I give myself those scars when it's not necessary?
No, I've tried to do the same exact thing, and I think I've done a fairly good job at it with my mentors and my life events and my journey. Bro, I'm in coaching. Dude, I was on a call yesterday for the DM Mastermind where Bobby Castro spoke to us for an hour. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm man enough to admit it. He absolutely fucking roasted me in the best way, shape, or form. And he roasted a bunch of guys on the call. And, when he when Bobby roasts you, it's like loving on you, you know. But
Yeah.
you know how he gets freaking PMA, like he gets all intense, dude. And his vein popped out right here. His tan started turning red, and it was off to the races. I was like, oh shit, I was in front of Pierce. But again, I'm a big boy. I can take it. And he's like, I'm gonna pick on Willy because I know he can handle it. But Willy, and I was like, oh shit,
That's love.
yeah. And I was like, damn, my hair, you know, let me make sure my hair's in the right, my beard's good. I was like, yeah, I almost turned on my camera, but I was like, no, don't do it, B-man. But yeah, dude, he's like, dude, what are you still doing in single family? It's like, you got to think bigger, blah, blah, blah. Like, all you guys should have $100 million net worth in here. You guys should be ashamed. And I'm like, holy shit. But he was right. He was right on the money. And it forced me to, you know, talking about that push. That was, you know, I don't need a push. I mean, I think most people who know me, they know Willy doesn't need to be pushed. He actually needs to be pushed back most times. But, dude, I do need a push in the right direction. We all do. Like, even Bobby will tell you, dude, I have mentors, you know? And then I'm like, well, who mentors Bobby? He's worth $1 billion. And he's like, well, the guy worth 10. That's who mentors him. The guy that's not exited one company for $1 billion. The guy that buys and sells companies and exits for $1 billion, you know, 50 times. That's who mentors that guy. Mm-hmm. So there's always somebody there that I'm always learning from. You know, the whole reverse flip thing. Amazing experience so far. I couldn't tell you, I probably compacted 5 years worth of stuff into a 9-month period. And I would pay it again just to do it. You know, I would do it all over again just for that experience because it allowed me to compress time. And that's like the holy grail of entrepreneurship. Yeah. Anytime you can grab time and shrink it from 3 years to a year to 6 months, whatever it is, it's going to be painful. It's usually a growing pain that hurts. But bro, give me the pain. I've always been the guy. Give me the pain on the front end. I'll take it. I can hold it. I just want the glory. Yeah. You know, don't like death of 1,000 cuts me for 3 years. If I could take a lot of pain in 6 months, bash me. But I'll be further ahead. You know, yeah. And that comes with that muscle of just knowing. You know, like you knew where you wanted to be and you knew where you didn't want to be. Right. The universe said, well, here you go. What are you going to do? And it was painful, you know, some of that was painful, I'm sure, but you did it. And now you're here and now you're looking at yourself. You're like, all right, what's the next move here? Cause you know, I doubled down on this and you know, where do I go from here? Right. And bro, you're going to have a lot. I told you, I was like, dude, it's not a straight shot. You're going to have a lot of iterations of that. It won't be your last one too. And myself too, dude, I get my ass handed to me all the time. And like you said, Muhammad Ali is the marketplace. The marketplace is undefeated. Yeah. He's the only one that ever has not lost. He's like the Floyd Mayweather of the entrepreneurship game. Never loses. And anytime I've ever tried to fight against the marketplace, I get my ass handed to me, dude. I get my ass handed to me every single time. And it's a good reminder.
We see this often all around us too, because we're very cognizant about who we're investing time and our attention into, right? Yeah. But whenever you see somebody who's not wanting to invest into coaching, mentorships, or whatever the case is, that's signaling to everybody, hey, I'm good with where I'm at, and the money that I'm making, I'm good.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I tap out here. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. But it gets to a point where you want to start being around individuals who do want to take it to the next level, 100%. And that's something I've always admired about you. I'm like, man, very few. I can't even think of 5 people personally that I know that are always driving, and that's something that has always been admirable.
Thank you. Yeah, I love to drive, bro. I love to drive. Anytime I feel myself, even recently, I've told my team, I'm like, yo, we're getting comfortable. We need to move that ass because I don't like it. I don't deal well here. Yeah. Like, there's not enough cold plunging that we could do here. We need to move, and we need to move fast. And usually, again, it's going back to the whole, I always, related to the muscle thing, right? Because people can relate to like going to the gym. Oh, my arm is sore, but that means that it's growing, right? That's kind of how it goes. That's a muscle that you build over time. Where now I realize when I feel, I'm like, this smells like comfort. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta change something. I gotta change my state, my physical state, my emotional state. Pick up a new book. I gotta join another master, or I gotta talk to somebody, or I gotta make a pivot in the business. Like I have to do a thought audit. Some shit's going on because something is stagnant. And the second you realize that, like, you're on the right path. The problem is that for guys like us that we don't come from a lot, and then you start to make $500,000 a year or whatever it is. Take your pick, $250,000, $500,000, $750,000, $1 million, whatever it is. Trust me, it's not as much as you thought it was. Yeah. Promise you that. And it comes with its own problems, like taxes. But dude, the second that you start to do that, I've seen it over 8 years, and I've told you these stories. Like, you start to see people around you that you thought, because you had these conversations like, yo, we're gonna go all the way to the top, and then they coast, and you start to see like the airplanes, like, boom, we are now at cruising altitude, like, and you're like, what the fuck? You know, you're just trying to push more, not because of the money, you're just trying to get better.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the hardest parts, the hard truths of entrepreneurship, where you need to let some people go. Yeah. That's something that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, but it's the reality. If you're really going to go to heights, or whatever you want to call it, where no one else has really gone, brother, you're going to lose a lot of people along the way. And you're going to lose a part of yourself, which is good. You know, you come out the other side as a new evolved person. You know, I lost my business and I went through a business divorce, but I came out the other side, Willy numbers, and then reverse flip, and then all these things. And there's so many lessons later, you know, I had to pay for them, but I wouldn't trade it, because if not, I'd just still be the dipshit wholesaling, you know? Oh, and I think that was the realization for me. I was sitting at a mastermind one day, and I remember saying to myself, I'm like, is what I have to look forward to really being the guy that went from 160 deals a year to 300 deals a year? Holy shit. Is that it for me? There's no enterprise value here. There's nothing else. Like, if I don't operate it, it's kaput. And then I have double the amount of problems that I already have with shitty ass sellers and all this crazy shit. I'm like, wow, there's got to be a better way, dude. Like there's a lot different ways to make a couple $1 million. Like, I have friends that work 4 hours a week that make $5 million a year. You know, it's very different. But the real estate business is, you know, wholesaling specifically, it's a hard grind.
Every single day.
Every single day.
Yeah.
You know, so where are you at? This has been awesome, by the way. Like, I really, this is real shit. This is exactly what I see. Unlock it, let it go, let the fire right there. Hermosi, your boy, sent me that, by the way, with no plaque. Alex, what the fuck, Alex? What? I'm gonna send. I was telling him, I was like, yo, we're gonna make a trophy and we're gonna send it back to Hermosi, like a different trophy, and I'm gonna make a video and I'm gonna say, yo, man, I just wanted to give this to you from Willy Numbers. Just how good of a job you're doing. By the way, I put a plaque on it so you can remember for the next time. Just give him my handle. I'll be like, I think he'll probably call me. Like he'll probably be like, dude, this is a really funny marketing piece. Yeah. Like, I think he'll appreciate. But this is nice. But damn, it's heavy. But no plaque. I don't even know what it's for. Like, no one knows. They're like,
it looks cool.
It's a flame, and I'm like, bro, the school game. Yeah, so I think his like COO dropped the ball on this or something. I don't know what happened. His assistant's like, oh, I forgot the plaques. Anyway, but it is cool. It's dope. So now we tied it all together. So last question on this piece, and then we'll move on to like where you're at today and why you decided to, because you got within a niche and a niche.
Yeah.
Like there's niches within niches, and you are a great example of niches and niches, and it's served you very well. But now you're going through some changes too. Before that though, what do you think was the biggest takeaway that you got working with me through that time frame?
I think it was actually a saying that you said.
Oh boy.
And you were like,
fasten your seatbelts.
Once I take you to the ball game, you can't unsee the park. Yeah. So once you see a 6-figure deal, it's one thing. Once you see a $250,000 deal, is another thing. Yeah. And prior to us working together, I couldn't see more than $10,000 on a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like just you exposing me to those kind of opportunities and kind of putting the puzzle pieces together to unlock a 6-figure deal, because you always also said like 6-figure deals, they're not found, they're made.
They're created.
Yeah. $250,000 deal, same thing.
100%. They're never. I've done a lot. I've never just stumbled and said, "Oh, here's a $100,000 deal." It's never happened to me. It always comes attached with some shit that it's like a little key, and you're like, I gotta find. It's like an escape room. You know, if you've ever done one of those escape rooms, they're fun and they're hard. Like, we went to the expert level one, I was like, yo, this shit's fuck. No wonder people are competitive and shit. But it's like that. Like, you have to really like, oh man, like you have to unlock something, because there's a reason it's sitting there. Yeah. Is all I'm trying to say. When people are like, oh yeah, bro, I want to do 6-figure deals like you, I'm like, Well, you better get really good at puzzles because there's a reason that they're sitting there for 6, 7, 8 years. You know, it's because they have a lot of layers of complexity. But what would you rather do? Do that deal or do 10 deals at small deals?
You can't scale that. You can't really. You don't make enough margin for you to be able to hire a second you to grow a team. Like you have to be able to make a large sums amount on every single deal.
Yeah.
And for me that was always 50K plus. Like you told me very early on. You're like, hey, there's only a 10K potential here. Like don't pay attention to that because there is a 50K in your pipeline, your CRM. Go after that.
100%, 100%. And I think that's probably what a lot of people that have worked with me have gotten. That's what I've gotten from my mentor, my original mentor in the real estate space. Well, my first real mentor in the space, Ray, was that. He's like, dude, if you keep eating shit with these little, he used to call them little onesies and twosies, you understand that 6-figure deal isn't going to come to you because you're distracted over here, but you're sacrificing and you're not delaying gratification. That was a big mindset shift for me where I was like, damn, like, can you really, I remember asking him, which is so stupid at the time, but I was like, can you really make $100,000 off a deal? And he's like, brother, I averaged $100,000 deal for 2 years straight, back in 2010, 2011, 2012. So, I trusted him, and it's crazy. Once you start the reticular activator, right? That's the shit like when you buy a car and then you start seeing it everywhere. You're like, damn, there's cars everywhere. It's your reticular activator. Once you start looking for 6-figure deals, guess what you find?
More 6-figure deals.
More 6-figure deals, right? So when people are looking and they only have X amount of, $20,000 deals in their pipeline, and nobody should take offense to this. Like, that's a considerable amount of money for some people, but
that's industry standard.
Yeah, when you do that though, and that's all you look for, don't be shocked if that's all you find, right? If you start to change your lens though, you're gonna start to find a lot of different things. So, from our time working together, because this is before reverse flipping and all that stuff, but it was basically what I taught you, which was buying deeds, wholesaling too. But, I always taught you looking for bigger problems, not your normal leads that guys would look for,
It was the pair of lenses that you gave me.
Oh, yeah.
That was probably the most valuable thing throughout the entire time because I would view a deal from one angle and probably on my own I'd be able to make, call it 20, 30 grand, but then you'd be like, what about X, Y, and Z? And then that's how you would unlock the extra 40. So if anybody who's looking for education, right, if they would have been smart, they would have just noticed that you would have actually paid for yourself, which is what you did majority of the time. You JV on a deal that otherwise you wouldn't have been able to unlock that extra 50 grand, that extra 25 grand. And you did that deal after deal.
Well, people told you for a long time, like, why are you JVing with him? This is ridiculous.
Dude, why are you JVing with the guy for this long? And I'm like, you guys just don't see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, and if we know this. If you want what nobody has, then you got to do what nobody's willing to do.
Yeah.
And I just always knew, I was like, I will outpay any other student. I will outdeliver. I will outwork. I will outsacrifice. That's gonna be how I build my relationship with Will.
I respect it because it's very much my style, and again, that's why I loved working with you, because you earned my respect in that regard. Because a lot of people say that shit. And, I had a lot of guys come up to me after an event. Like, bro, you don't understand what I'm willing to do. And I'm like, bullshit. I'm just like, bullshit. Because, again, it's not to them. I was proven wrong, right? Or proven right. Believe me, bro, in my mind, in my heart, I'm like, I hope this kid proves me wrong. I really do. And you did, but 99% of the time, 99.99% of the time, you're full of shit.
That's just people.
You ain't gonna do it. You know.
During the time, I think it was towards the end of 2023.
Yeah.
The deal in Westchester.
That's right.
That we ended up making almost a $250,000 on, but on
it was
that
right before
deal,
Christmas.
Right before Christmas. Very easy for a student to be like, man, I've already learned like all these things. I don't, because the deal itself wasn't hard.
No.
But that's where everybody misses the boat right there.
Mm-hmm.
You double down. Mm-hmm. You bring them the shitty part. You bring them the shitty deals, but also bring them the good deals. Bring them everything.
No,
everything in between.
It says a lot about you and like your mentality, which is A1, right? Like you've gone on to be. It's no surprise to me why you've gone on to be so successful in your own right, because you have the right mentality. The technicals are great. Like, oh man, yeah, you got to do all this ninja shit with the deal, and this is the list, and this is how you get them, and whatever. That's important. But the think tank of how you're viewing the world, that's the key. Because anyone in South Florida had access to me at the time. There was a bunch of other guys that were in the program too. And again, it's no offense towards them. Like, they got exactly what they wanted, no problem. They paid, the 30 grand, whatever. We JV'd 3, 4, 5 deals, whatever. But like you said, I could have helped those guys so much more. And they could have saved themselves maybe 2, 3 years of headaches. All right. You stuck around, you saw it, you're the guy that stuck around the longest. It's no surprise to me to watch you now and to be like, he's out earning every single one of you. It's not at all surprising to me. I'm like, there's a direct correlation there.
And even in the short term, if I'm not, right? I'm sure that there's guys that you've coached that are probably making a lot, taking a lot more money home than I am. But long term wise, who's winning in 10 years? Who's winning in 20 years? Because that's where I'm playing for that.
It's going to be you. There's no question. And again, like, you nailed it. For me, when I got started in this business in 2017, I remember like it was yesterday, I told my mom, I was like, I am going to be the best wholesaler in South Florida. Yeah. I never said I'm going to be the best wholesaler in South Florida in 3 years. I never said the year part. I said I'm going to be the best wholesaler in fucking South Florida. Took me about 4.5 years, almost 5, to get there, but I was. And I hit that accolade. But I was willing to be there because my mentality was, dude, I didn't get into entrepreneurship for a 5-year thing. This is a lifestyle for me, and I do that with anything. Come check me out in 5 years. Now I have enough time in where it's like, come check me out. It's been 8 years, almost 9 for me. I'm trailing on a decade. You know how many guys started in my graduating class in 2017? Nowhere. And that's not to demean them. That's just the facts are the facts. We went through the same market. We went through the same shit. We saw the same COVID. We had all the right opportunities in front of us. But who did what? There's a few guys that are from my era, like Tall and Eric, for example. Bobby Suarez, right? He was a little bit before me. Crushing it. Why did we all crush it? Well, because we did different things. Because we invested in different things. Because we actually took the chances to do it. And we never looked right, never looked left, never did. Look at Bobby. He's never done anything else.
Yeah.
Real estate. Look at Tall and Eric. Never done anything else. Real estate. Look at me. Never done anything else. Real estate. You don't see me in crypto. You don't see me in fucking Amazon. You don't say, I'm doing this new thing.
A big one.
What?
People were jumping into e-com.
E-com, dude. Yeah, bro. Do you know how many guys that I knew got their asses handed to them in Amazon FBOs and all this store, whatever, FOBs, whatever you call them? Dude, but they took their eye off the ball. Yeah. And then when you try to get back on the ball, that ball's moved.
Lost a step.
Yeah, bro. You lost a lot of steps. You get punched in the mouth for doing that shit, Stick with it. It might not look like it's working for a very long time, but I promise you're going to wake up one day and it's going to seem like magic. And people around you are going to look at you and they're going to be like, damn, bro, you came out of nowhere. And I'm like, I've been at this shit for 8 years, dude. Like, out of nowhere. I'm like, no, dude, it's compounded. Yeah. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It's a tremendous book for anyone who hasn't read it. It's literally entrepreneurship. It's anything in life, really.
That's why I love the game, man. I think there's a direct correlation with education and money that somebody takes home. Yeah. So to me, I love learning and money just follows.
Nailed it. That's real number 3. Bam, he nailed that one. Yeah. So let's talk about the Westchester deal. So a lot of people, funny enough, you hit the deal exactly where I hit the deal because I'm from Westchester. So the biggest deal I ever did was $254,000, 8971 Southwest 45th Street in Westchester, Miami. Daniel Tucker. I'll never forget that guy because you can't forget that. I made $250,000 on that deal. That was 2019. And I held that record. Nobody broke that record. On an assignment, by the way, for the record. It was an assignment. It wasn't a fix and flip. It was bullshit. No hammers. Could have made a lot more money. Because the guy after me made another 150.
No hammers.
Yeah, no hammers. I bought it for 100, bro. That was crazy. Today the house is worth 800. Nothing. Anyway, what was your biggest deal? Because you were out to break my record for a little while there. Which
I'll share with you the 2 biggest. So one was during the time that we were working together. I think it was either on a Saturday or Sunday. I go to a house in Westchester. The guy was like, look, man, I want to talk in person. I don't really go on appointments still to this day. Like, it's rare for me to go on one, but I was like, you know what? There might be something here. Let me go. I get to the guy's house, and he shows me around the house. It looks great, great location. There's really not a lot of issues. He's just
It's a dope house.
It was super dope. 2-story house. He was just behind a couple years on taxes, and that was his panic. We end up having a conversation at the table. He tells me he wants 400 grand for the house, and I stayed like a silent killer. I said 400 grand, and I'm stone cold. Like, in the back of my mind, I knew where I wanted to be. I was like, but you want to be there? We'll be there.
You'll be there.
I was like, all right, that's no problem. What is it that you need from us? I need the taxes. I need this. I need that. Okay, perfect. Let's make it happen. Walked out of there. I reached out to you. I had a feeling it was a good deal, but I'd also had that feeling prior, and it turned not into a good deal. So I've learned to just stay composed throughout the entire deal process. And
it's really good advice.
I sent it over to you. I was like, hey, got one in Westchester, your backyard. This is the purchase price. This is what we have it at. This is what I think it could sell for. That deal ends up turning. We closed that one in less than 30 days. You found a cash buyer on that one because
super fast.
Yeah, super fast. So less than 30 days, we end up making 221. And you remember that phone call?
They do.
I called you and I'm like, I think I broke your record.
Yeah, you were all excited.
Think again.
Yeah. So funny enough, he put a clause in the contract for him paying back the seller's taxes.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember the exact amount, but basically with the closing costs and the taxes or whatever, the record was 254. And he, young Thundercat, I love the competition. And he's like, oh man, I think I broke your record. And Savannah, who was doing dispo at the time, she's like, hey, I think Oscar actually, and I was like, listen. Let me sit both of you down. I did my numbers, okay? He didn't break the record because the HUD says the taxes, whatever. And I was like, no. I'll give it to you if you did. But I was like, no. Yeah. He fell below the threshold. And I think it was like 233 or something. And look, there was a side of me that really wanted to give it to you. I was like, bro, this poor kid.
Nah, I got to earn that.
But you got to earn that.
Yeah, you got to earn
and
that.
I earned that. And, but I think you followed it up. I mean, maybe less than a year later.
Less than a year later, I have a lead in my system where there's no reaching out to this guy. There are no phone numbers. There are no emails. I end up finding out the guy has no phone. But what I did was I reverse skip trace the guy's address. And I'm like, let's see who's staying with him. Because it's a big house. I don't think he's living there by himself. I located 2 other guys that were staying there with him. And every single time I would try to call, they just wouldn't answer. I was like, dude, they got to sleep here. Let me call so freaking early that they have to answer the phone. So I called like at 7 on a Saturday, and the guy was like, yeah, I got the individual right here. He puts him on the line. I'm here breaking it down to him. I'm like, hey, look, you're behind a couple years on taxes. There's currently an auction date, right? And you have all these situations that you're dealing with. Would you be interested in selling your house? He's like, yeah, look, my mom passed away. I'm the only son. I was like, sweet, not a lot of probate. And long story short, I said, okay, let me go out to you. We'll go ahead and pencil this. I had already made him the offer prior. And that's exactly what I did. So went out to him as soon as I got back from the gym. So stinky and all. Did not care about showering. I said, I am gone. He said yes to this offer. I'm going to go get this in person. He does not have a phone. So I wasn't going to be able to send the contract.
You just got to go.
Yeah. I'm like, I got to go. Yeah. I was like, Mom, give me this, give me that. Let's go. So I take off, and we end up getting into the contract at 79 grand. We were going to take care of the taxes. Bought the guy a phone. We helped the guy get relocated, put down like 6 months of rent for where he was going to. I mean, we literally did everything for this individual, paid the back taxes, the whole nine. The individual staying at the house, and instead of them was going through the eviction process, we helped relocate them as well. So we ended up selling that one. We ended up walking out with like 266.
I remember.
It was a little bit more than that, but there was some taxes or whatnot, and we ended up making 266. And the reason why I pushed so hard to break the record was because you said it. I was like, man, there's no better feeling for a mentor that somebody who sets a record, hasn't been broken for ages, and then there comes along the person who he says is the best student, and breaks the record himself.
Yeah, I'll give you that, bro. That was prime time shit. I remember I was so happy too. Like that. That's what I think a winner or a good mentor should be too.
I wanted the record more than I wanted the money.
Yeah. Like, why not? And that's what, records are set to be broken. There was somebody who set records before me, and $250,000 is, it's a lot of money on a single family residence. It's a rare bird. I've come close again, like 180, 190, 210. But yeah, I mean, you cracked it. You know, you beat it by 12,000, which is a lot. But now somebody will come along and hopefully break yours. You know, probably mine stuck around for 6 years since 2019 to 2024, 5 years. You did it in 2024, right? December?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. You've had $250,000 deals basically in your career.
Now I just expect them every single year. I'm like, we'll come across an opportunity and we'll be able to make $250,000.
See, now you got the lenses.
Exactly.
It's different.
No, it's huge.
Yeah, it's different. There's guys that don't even make $250,000 in a year as doctors.
That's how, when I was in debt, I had never made $250,000 in a year. So we go from that prior to you to being able to make $250,000 on one deal. I mean, just that dynamic, the shift, it's huge.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you start fishing in different places. You start adding different bait. You start adding different lines. You start adding different hooks. You get a better boat, right? You get a better map. Maybe you get up earlier to relate to fishing. But that's what, again, he paid to learn. You know, he paid in a lot of ways, not just monetary, but he paid the time, he paid his dues, he paid the 10,000 hour rule, right? Like all that kind of stuff. He's reaping the benefits because he's done the work. That's what I wish people would understand. There is no such thing as a free lunch or easy. You know, easy come, easy go. That is really true. That is a true statement. It doesn't just happen that way. You know, you don't stumble upon something like that. Yeah. But you also knew. And you called on a Saturday, 7 a.m. Like, dude, I'm going to catch this guy. You reverse skip trace the guys. Boom, you catch the guys in the house. And you're like, all right, well, I know someone who's staying with him. And then you're like, dude, I'm leaving the gym, stinky and all. I got to go. Let's roll, right? Like, you're there.
I stunk.
Yeah, you stunk, but hey, you stunk all the way to the bank. Like, that's a fact, dude. Like, those are the little things, like I said, the intangibles. There's so many guys just... How many guys would have been, tomorrow, I'll hit him tomorrow. Tomorrow's gone, bro. Tomorrow, Oscar or Will or whoever the hell, gone with the win, brother. It's done.
It's all the micro skills, the reverse skip tracing. Nobody else was going to be able to reach this guy. I reverse skip trace, found 2 other individuals living with him, right? Mm-hmm. You showed me the site. You showed me how to reverse skip trace, how to have those kind of conversations. Mm-hmm. And... I mean, and we'll get into that too. That's eventually how I ended up transitioning to the business model that we have now. But that opportunity was an opportunity that nobody else had in front of them because nobody can get in contact with this person.
That's right. And it's probably a dead lead sitting in a lot of people's CRMs. They're like, oh, yeah, it's dead. Yeah. There's nothing there. Oh, there was $266,000 there. That's a beautiful thing about real estate too. You can count them. And it's public record. So when you hit, it hits. And it's like a scoreboard that everybody can see. Yeah. Like there's no lying. It's like a HUD. Here's my entry. Here's my exit, fucker. Like, there it is, right?
That's what I love.
And it's Miami.
In Miami, and yeah, in the hood.
Dude.
I think this is like 33142 zip.
Oh, I love it. So, transitioning to where you are now, you prop air, correct?
Proper air.
Proper air. Yeah. Excuse me, proper air, which I love. I think it was a lot better than Next Level Home.
Shout out to my coach, Neil. He really pushed that.
Neil.
I'm like, I didn't want to get distracted. He was like, you don't understand when you're having conversations with these sellers.
No, this is it. Yeah, no.
Like, it sounds so much smoother. You need to change this.
Bro, when I saw it, I was like, golf clap to the man. Like, really, it tracks exactly with what you're saying because you have coined the term, which I love, which is an inheritance specialist.
Yeah.
You know, that's high level shit. You know, you're thinking outside the box. So, what is it that you guys do currently? Because you're not in a traditional wholesale model. You've been long out of that. You do some reverse flipping because it's a strategy now, but it's basically what I taught you back in the day. But what do you guys do now?
Yeah, that's actually my title whenever I'm speaking to a seller. I'm an inheritance recovery specialist.
Nailed it.
So practically what we do now is we go after deals that either requires probate or partitions or both in one. And the reason why we go after those kind of deals is because during our entire time together, there were certain deals that would come about, and there was one specifically where like it really started planting the seed. It was a deal in Pembroke Pines where I got this lady on the contract. Do you remember her? She was a purple hair lady.
Yeah.
I think you remember that one. But I get that deal in the contract, and you start doing all your background like search on your end to see if it's actually a deal. You take a look at the deed, and you're like, hey, we're gonna have to do a probate here. And I was like, well, how come? Like, she's the only owner of the house. I looked it up on public records, and you started breaking down the deeds to me. And based off of the deed, the way that the house was bought was her mom and her had bought it as tenants in common. So even though she was the sole owner, she was gonna end up being the sole owner, a probate still had to get done.
Because not JTTRS.
Right. It's not a joint tenant with right of survivorship. So I see that, and I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. Then fast forward to the $266K deal that the guy couldn't be found, right? And at the time, we were going after a lot of fire damage property where people were just difficult to find. And I remember I was like, man, like, these are deals. And there's, like, nobody has a skill set to package it up and go after them. So start seeing one deal, start seeing two. You learn a little bit here on this deal. You learn a little bit here on the other deal. But ultimately, because I was $250,000 in deal, because I was $250,000 in debt, what was my best marketing channel? Driving for dollars. Right? So I would just invest a lot of time, and I would drive on streets through Google Maps, and I would look for opportunities. And because you taught me the docket and how to do like the research of a property, that's how we'd get some of the good deals. Then fast forward, I had a conversation with Alex. I go to Vegas, right? Breaks down my Alex Hermosi. Still the most amount of money I had invested in an hour span, 50 grand.
It's worth it.
Yeah, every bit of it. But he pretty much enters the room, and I was like the second, third guy he was going to speak to business-wise. And he pretty much takes a look at all my marketing channels, and he realized that on Driving for Dollars, we had over a 20 to 1 return on investment. And I was like, okay, how come you're not just doing that? And
valid question.
Yeah, like, just a very simple, like, basic question. I was doing cold calling, I was doing texting, I had just started doing direct mail, and I was doing Driving for Dollars, right? So I didn't understand how to focus on one marketing channel, right? But I was like, okay, fair. Like, the advice that he gave me was so simple, but when I left there was really when it hit me. 2 days after, I was like, why am I seeing such good returns over here, and why am I not doing more of it? I get back, I started doing some more Driving for Dollars. I came across a very similar opportunity to the one that we did on the house in Pembroke Pines, where somebody passed away, and like you could tell nobody had claimed their portion of it, right? And I started making calls to these sellers. I pick up the phone, the seller picks up the phone, and I'm like, hey, so-and-so, you would be entitled to 50% of this house. They had no idea. It's been over 20 years. And I'm like,
it's a great conversation.
I like this feeling. They had no idea. There's no competition, right? And I'm like, are there more of these? I'm like, because I found one with Will, I found one now, and I start driving every single day. And I was like, okay, we need to tweak something here. I started going all into those kind of deals where they required to have a probate or a partition. Because if you start going after foreclosures, short sales, standard wholesales, these are all different kind of deals, right? Especially when you're small and you don't have a ton of bandwidth, focus is huge. So that's literally what we started doing. I started only going after deals that had probates and partitions.
Nailed it. That's a niche within a niche.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So do you... I think it's brilliant, first of all, to focus on that. The fact that you stacked the deals and you're like, wait a minute, there's a lot of overlap here. It's the 80-20 rule. It's classic. You're looking at what's the 20% that's driving in 80% of my revenue, which obviously if you're swinging and hitting grand slams, you'd be an idiot not to look and say, because I've done it too, where you're like, dude, this is it. Like, forget about this 30K deal. Like, where's that 200K deal? Where's that 100K deal, right? Whatever. Plus, the work. I tell guys this all the time, and I think you always understood this, I think intuitively, but not all money's created equally. Yeah. You know, revenue. It's not, you know. Like, when I was doing a lot of the short sales with reverse flip, dude, it was not even close to being comparable to my other type of deals, right? And that was a big lesson where for you, like a guy going after a deal and making 40K, but having to deal with 40 hours worth of work, and you going after a deal and dealing with 8 hours worth of work to make 80K, dude, or the same 40K, who's better, right? I'd rather take the 8-hour guy.
For Sure.
There's like my development deal. Same shit. I'm like, I did 9 hours worth of work here to generate $4 million. I'd be a fool not to be looking for more of these opportunities.
No, and there's a lot of them. That the thing is that a lot of people don't even know that they're out there, or they don't know how to find them. But as soon as I came back from Vegas and I had that conversation with Alex, during a 60-day period, I literally had gotten 18 contracts for like 1.8 in projected profits. Some of those fell, some of those turned into losses, which is something else we can get into. But just right off the bat, that was a signal for me, like, okay, you got to be paying attention to this because there's something here. Not a lot of people are trying to crack the code on this.
No, and it's not easy. You know, it's not easy. But for you, ironically, it kind of is because I had already taught you how to look at the hairy stuff,
The
run the
legal
docket.
side.
Yeah, and that's what people miss, where these things aren't just gonna be there. Like guys barely, bro. It's sad to me that guys can, when I talk to like a random person, they don't even know how to function the property appraiser site. That's basic level shit. They couldn't even tell you the zoning, and they're staring at a lot that's T5L.
Yeah.
I'm like, my man, do you know what this is zoned for? And they're like, whoa. You know, but again, it comes from the coaching side where it's they didn't learn it, you know, let alone the docket. My God, the docket and the official records are.
You really taught me all three core aspects of what it is that we're doing today, which is obviously wholesale. That's our bread and butter. That's how we make our money. A lot of the legal stuff, and you put me in touch with Gio, great
GOAT.
attorney. Shout out to Gio.
Shout out to Gio.
And a lot of the background investigation, well, I call it now private investigation, but a lot of the stuff looking at the dockets and finding things out is what you had originally showed me.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, that's where the money is.
Yeah.
That's where the money is, because if you don't, yes, it's a little tedious. Yes, it takes some time, but that's actually why I called it reverse flipping, because you do the work in reverse rather than, oh, you put something under contract, you get a lead and title search, 2.5 weeks later, then you get there's all these problems, and you're like, oh shit, now you got to retrade, you got to go back, you got to do this, you already blasted it, now the seller hates you, you know, like all this stuff. Just do it in reverse. Pick a lead, do the digging, and then go after it, and boom, you nailed it, right? It's machine gun versus a sniper rifle.
I've always liked that approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the smaller you are, the smaller team you have, the less bandwidth you have, the more focused you have to be as an entrepreneur. If you just take a look at majority of entrepreneurs that are doing, call it sub $1 million, or you know, they're definitely not at the $10 million range. They typically can't even get there because they lack focus. They can't go after one avatar. They're trying to do multiple things, trying to do multiple businesses and multiple marketing channels. It becomes a mess.
Bro, it honestly is very simple. I know simple's not easy, but simple is simple. It's focus. It is focus. You know, most people also don't give themselves enough time in that marketing channel, for example. 90 days, 120 days, gestation, that word. They don't give themselves enough time. So like a month of doing cold calling, they're like, oh, this shit doesn't work. I'm like, dude, you didn't even have enough at-bats to see if you could hit. But you got out of it too early. So then you go into direct mail and you're like, oh, I did it for 2 months. That shit doesn't work. And I'm like, dude, again, same thing, right?
The problem all along.
Yeah, it's the same problem because, you know, Cash for Keys, well, I know you know them. Great dudes. Their number one marketing channel is direct mail.
Yeah.
Why? Because they've never turned it off. They've never turned it off. And they just go more. And their sales process gets trimmed up more. Mm-hmm. And I taught them the KPIs. And I'm like, guys, you're going to dial it in right here, bro, because you're already crushing it. Now, how do you crush it more? Yeah. Right? Follow-up specialists, that kind of stuff. You have to put up the numbers, because if you're making, I don't know, just make up a number, 150 grand a month, you're leaving another 150 grand in the follow-up. That's the problem, right? But if you lack on the follow-up, because it's easier to go for low-hanging fruit, especially your sales guys will get lazy and go for the low-hanging fruit. That's the problem. But you have to have follow-up metrics that are tracked separately from your regular metrics. And they have to be incentivized differently. Because if not, what incentivizes them the sales guy's always going to choose the path of least resistance. He's going to say, oh, bro, I just popped this up. Well, of course, because it's a new lead. Right? No one wants to look at the old shit. But the old shit, like return mail, it's where all the money is.
Tell me that.
The $250,000 deal that I hit in Westchester was return mail. Nobody was looking at it. Why? Because it was return mail. And everybody lights their return mail on fire. I didn't. But why did I do that? Same way that you did what you had to do. Because I had to, because I was broke. So what I did was, hey, I have this, let me work it. So that necessity created that skill set. to do that. And that's what helped me really go through all the dockets and do all the training and running the play and all that stuff, which later turned out to pay me very, very well. But a lot of the times, guys, I'll tell you, the thing that you're probably avoiding right now is probably the thing that's going to make you the most amount of money.
Literally.
It really is.
A lot of entrepreneurship is counterintuitive in that way.
It is.
Where like you feel you got to go this route, but you also see everybody else goes that route. I'm like, well, and to touch on a point of wholesale, right? Building value in a wholesale company is extremely hard. There's only really a handful of companies that I can think of that do it. So seeing the way you did it, Tall, like everybody who's done it, I'm like, what am I going to bring different to the marketplace? Because if I want to have a different outcome, I can't do the same exact thing.
No.
And that's ultimately why I decided to make the pivot. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna market us as an asset recovery firm because that's really what we're doing. Like we're helping individuals who have no idea that they're entitled to a portion of a house or whatever the case is, inherit the asset. And the core components of the business is going to be different because in a standard wholesale operation, you don't have a whole lot of legal, and you don't have any private investigation. Right? They run away from that. We know a lot of people that any legal matters they run the opposite way. So I want to lean into that because I think that's where my skill lies, and I think that's how we've been building it this whole time.
No, yeah, you don't have to think, you know it. I mean the proof is in the pudding. You put up $1.8 million in projected revenue in 1 quarter in Miami-Dade County. I would say that Miami-Dade is top 3 most competitive markets in America.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. And we have more title issues than what anybody knows what to do with. The Hialeah specials, the unsafe structures.
Fraudulent wills,
fraudulent deeds. Fraud just as a whole. Like,
tough.
If you dropped a pin on fraud, it would land in Miami. In America,
that's a good one.
That's real number 4. If you dropped a pin on fraud, you would say, "Pow!" right there. It would land in Miami. Oh God, it's such a beautiful place to be from. That's why I live in Palm Beach County now.
I know, man. It's lovely up here. I've been coming a lot up here. By the way,
it's nice, dude.
I like it. I was the night you recently were at Meisner. I was there too.
Oh, you should text me.
I was like,
you should text me. What's up?
I was on a date.
Oh, damn. Oscar on a date. That's a new one. Yeah. All right, so the proper air, right? Which I think is a brilliant name, and the fact that I want to go back for a second. The fact that you labeled yourself as an asset recovery firm, you automatically killed competition.
I'm trying to create a moat.
100%. Now you're not an investor.
Right.
Now you just knocked out all those guys, even though they're not competing against you on these deals because they're very difficult. But now you just knocked them all out. It's like, hey, we do something different here. Like you already like talk about creating space between you and your competition. Now you're standing out on your own.
The only component that our business has similar to wholesale is the fact that we wholesale the property on the back end. So the disposition side of the business, sure, it's exactly what a wholesale operation looks like, but the marketing is different. We have a sniper-like approach. Like, I'm not cold calling somebody without having an idea of what's going on with the house. Like, I know exactly what pain points to hit. Our sales process and our sales calls sound night and day of a difference. And even when we get properties in the contract, on the delivery side, on the TC side, all the hairy things that we need to do, it looks different. Every single one of our deal requires some kind of legal issues that we need to solve. Probates, partitions, right?
So what are the top 3 things that you feel like set you apart and you're crushing Miami right now?
To me, it's how we find the deals. Like the marketing channel is cold calling because that's really what we're doing, but it's through driving for dollars. So we have agents that are going street by street looking for properties, right? Either vacant or something that looks distressed, and then we literally have SOPs around this. So they start doing all their background preliminary background investigation on the property, right? Grab that information, they sent it into the system, which is already different in itself. And then once we get on the phone, the sales calls sound night and day of a difference.
Give me an example. Like, what's the sales call?
So, I mean, I'll literally start it off and I'll say, hey, good afternoon, Will. How you doing? You'll answer. Yeah. My name's Oscar. I'm trying to get in contact with a relative or family member of so-and-so. So-and-so is typically the individual that passed away. So that's the hook right there that catches their attention. They'll respond, yes, I'm the son, I'm the daughter, whatever the case may be. And then I let them know. I make them aware. I'm like, I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but when so-and-so passed away, they left behind a house that you might be entitled to a portion of it. Right? And then what do you mean? Once they say, what do you mean? That's when you have them now. Yeah, exactly. That's when you can start explaining things to them. And that's where you need to know legal.
Yeah.
You need to understand when so and so passes away, who inherits the property.
Yeah.
And being able to ask the right question on the phone is huge.
How'd you get so good at probate?
You.
Well, and Gio too.
No, Gio. I mean, all day Gio. But I mean, we started working some of these deals, and then eventually, when I started working with Gio, invested a lot of time just on calls with him alone.
And money.
Yeah.
Money, which I always told you to do. I said book time with Gio.
Yeah.
And go on a Zoom call with him, and drill him on probates.
Yep.
Which a lot of you guys won't do, but ton of my pro guys now, that's all they do. They, Rudy,
All in the playbook.
Josh, dude, I'm like, guys, Oscar's doing that. I'm like, brother, go get really good at probate.
Yeah.
I'm not going to teach you all the probate. I mean, I'm going to teach you some high level shit, like, summary, formal, homestead. Okay, is there a will? No, intestate, testate. All right, cool. I could teach you a lot of stuff, but I can't spend every single call teaching you guys about probate. Plus, Gio's way better at probate naturally than I am because he's the attorney. But go invest money in him. Because that one investment can pop you off $100K on one deal. Was the $2,000 for 4 hours of his time or whatever it is worth it? Yeah.
And
Worth it.
We never touched on that before, but we talk about coaching. What about the people that you connected me with?
The vendors, yeah.
Zendegi, Gio.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you need short sale. This person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that you can't put a price tag on that.
No. And again, we're charging way too little, Antonio. That's what I gotta say. But it's true, dude. Like when guys come along, they're like, "Oh, what's different?" I'm like, brother, just trust me. Just send the money and watch. Magic comes on the other side.
Yeah.
I'm literally at that point. Like I'm not on the sales calls really anymore, but I'm literally at that point. I told my sales guy today on the education side. I said, bro, look, if they don't see it, then it ain't for them. Keep it moving. Sell them like the standalone. The course. They can watch that on their own. They're not gonna get anything else.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't have the patience for it anymore. Like I've seen what I can produce, and you and a lot of other guys, right? Like no one at your level yet, but for sure doing very, very well. Mike Barone is popping off deals that he would have never thought. And Mike Barone's an awesome guy, right? Dude, that guy. I mean, we just had a JV. He got paid out like $35,000. He's like, dude, I forgot about this deal. I'm like, well, it paid. Here you go. And we invalidated a will on a probate. Some high level shit that we brought this guy Frank Norwich, looks like fucking Inspector Gadget.
A handwriting expert,
dude. This guy's got a mustache from 1975, like the guy that you'd want in court. When Gio showed me his picture, I was like, that's the guy. That's the guy I want to testify. That's the guy I want in front of the stand with bottle cap glasses, Poindexter little pocketbook. I'm like, ese el tipo. That's the guy. We're gonna send that guy out there. The will's gonna be invalidated on his mustache alone. You know that you're serious when you walk in. Pow! And you got that mustache. Yeah, he's like worked at Quantico, like FBI shit. Like he was legit, bro. And it cost us, I think, $3,000. We made like $110 on the deal. Like, please.
Seller had no idea. They thought they lost the property.
No idea. As a matter of fact, there was 2 wholesalers that had NOIs on that property 3 years prior. Completely gone. And they got stuck there. You could see it. And there was a probate from 6-7 years ago. The problem was so big that the city of Fort Lauderdale demoed the structure.
I remember.
It was gone.
Yeah.
So people, it lasted so long that the triplex turned into vacant land.
So Mike made $35,000. On top of that, now he has the lenses.
Oh yeah, now he's looking. And now he's
he
finding other
knows.
ones.
Yeah, now he knows what that play looks like.
Yeah, man.
Massive.
Touch on something for me. How much opportunity? Give people some context. Because you're in Miami-Dade.
Yeah.
It's a very competitive market. Fine. But you're only doing, to be clear, you are only doing one marketing channel.
Yeah.
You're only doing one marketing source. You're only doing probates, partitions with no debt.
No, just probates and partition. Those are the 2 main triggers. Now we did just open it up to go back into wholesales, and we can hit on that in a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, just strictly probate and partitions up to this point, and there's so many opportunities that just so that people can get an idea. We find on average between 4 and 5 of these properties, only in Dade, by the way, every single day, right?
Every day.
Every single day. Yeah.
It's 5 days a week or 6.
No, we have the drivers are driving 5 days a week, and we have 2 drivers, so call that 10 houses a day on average.
10 opportunities a day.
And for every 17 leads that we get, we're getting a contract.
17 to 1.
17 to 1.
That's better than PPC.
We have, yeah. I mean, our return on marketing is over 20 to 1. We might want to take that out, but no.
It's 5.
Include
This
it.
Number 4.
I welcome everybody.
Yeah. Nah, they're not gonna know how to do it anyway.
But no, we have an over 20 to 1, and it works, man. It works. Now, there's always something negative to something that works, and on the negative side, you have that these deals takes forever. So.
Well, what's forever? Average.
Yeah. So call it 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah. So if on a standard wholesale, a standard company makes 30, 40 grand, but they make it in 30, 45 days, if you're having to wait 6 months to make double that, or even maybe 60, 70 grand, it becomes not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You get me? It's just too long. It's too long of a timeline. There's too much cash going out the door, not enough coming in, etc. And at the end of the day, remember, this is how the team gets paid too.
Sure.
So
it's hard to keep a team like that.
Exactly. So that's why we decided recently in the past month to open up the door to also doing singles and doubles, because right now we're just going for triples and home runs, and those are cool. But just like the Marlins, no, it wasn't the Marlins. It was the Dodgers. I think they had a playoff game a couple years ago where they won only with singles and doubles.
Yeah, I like that video you made.
It wasn't anything flashy. No home runs, no triples. They won with singles and doubles. So that was actually my message to the team about 2 weeks ago. And it was a hard decision because I'm huge on focus.
Sure.
So I really had to sit down with myself, and I'm like, man, what about this is not working? There's components to it that is, right? 10 months ago we made the pivot. We've been doing this now for 10 months. So I've let the idea sit and breathe.
Sure.
It's not like I've changed it from one day to the next.
You had enough time.
Right. We had during our first 60-day period, we had 18 deals. We saw that 33% of that 6 deals ended up turning into lawsuits. I'm like, why is that? I realized I had to go back into the sales process, fix that. So now our sales process is tighter. We haven't had a lawsuit since. Yay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
But then you start working component by component. You're like, okay, well, the probates and partitions are taking extremely long. What is it? All right, well, let's automate the documents so that we don't have to go back and forth with the attorneys. Let's just automate everything. You connected me once again with the SOP Factory.
Yeah.
Right. So she came in and she set up SOPs for almost every single department in our business, and that was one of the biggest ones that we tackled at the very beginning.
Very tedious, bro.
Yeah. So you have that going. You have the marketing. You have all these things. I'm like, well, there's components to this that still aren't working. I'm like, I'm gonna be vulnerable, but we're running on less than 3 months worth of cash. You never want to be in that situation, right? And I'm an open book with my team. Like our team gets to see our finances.
Mine too.
I share profit and loss, our balance sheet, our cash flow sheet, and I break it down to them. I'm like, look, guys, we're struggling. Why are we struggling? We're getting deals. They're just not getting to the finish line, right? And ultimately, I was like, okay, I sat down with myself, and I was like, what am I going to do? I don't want to change an entire business. I don't want to go into another industry. I've already learned that lesson, right? No. And I don't want to change too many things. So ultimately, the question that I just asked myself, I said, if you added standard wholesales where you could still get your singles and doubles, how would that impact the business? And I'm like, well, that wouldn't impact Dispo because they sell this kind of deal the way they would be selling that kind of deal. Would that impact TC? Well, no, because what I would do is I would just add a second TC, have one focus on wholesale files, and the other one focus on asset recovery files. I was like, well, would that impact marketing? No, because at the end of the day, marketing, the way that they market is they're looking for properties, and I'm pointing out what triggers is it that qualify in order for them to send a lead in. So all I have to do is let them know, hey, instead of these two, like just whichever one of these triggers qualify, send it in. I'm like, okay, that's not a huge change in the business. The only department that was going to change a little bit was on the sales side, right? Because it's a different conversation. You got to be able to have this kind of conversation, an asset recovery conversation, and then a standard wholesale conversation. But I'm still in the sales seat, so it's me and one more person, Mark. So I was like, okay, I feel confident with us having to deal with that. And ultimately, that's what made me decide to want to go back into starting to wholesale.
And when did you make that decision?
Probably less than a month ago, because the biggest rule in business is to not go out of business. So, like, forget...
That's real number 5.
Forget profitability, forget scaling, forget turning your business into an asset. Forget about all of that. If you run out of cash, bye-bye. That's game over. So that is number 1 rule, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that. If I have to open it back up to standard wholesales... While we continue to figure this out, I'm like, we're going to do that. So it just made sense, and really I just had to shut down my ego once again. I was like, look, your hypothesis was wrong. There's components to it that was right, but ultimately there's tweaks you got to make. And in the long term, I could see ourselves only focusing on asset recovery. But what we started running into a lot too was that sometimes you'll invest $2,000, getting in contact with an individual in Jamaica or an individual in Cuba, and you don't make the deal happen.
Yep.
So now your cost to acquire a contract skyrockets.
Yep.
You're like, man, I'm calling this individual. Like, this is literally a blessing, but they don't view it like that because they never realized they had a problem to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So in wholesale, in asset recovery, I had to pretty much make them aware of a problem. I had to solve a problem, and then I had to explain to them the entire process because these individuals are not knowledgeable. In wholesale, you're just solving a problem, and then you're explaining to them the entire process. A lot more bandwidth, a lot more money spent on this end. So that's why I decided to open up back to standard wholesale.
Also, a lot less competition, though, too.
Yeah. So long term
Which
wise,
is worth a lot.
There's more value in this, but a lot of the things that we deal with in our businesses, it's a scam. So no matter how many testimonials I put up on our website, and trust me, every single time we finish with a customer, I try to get testimonials. If there's 8 errors, I'm going after all 8 errors for a testimonial.
Sure.
No matter how many Google reviews, it still comes across as a scam.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way you can overcome that is by having a massive brand. Let's say we're Zillow, right? Everybody already knows. You want to check the price of your property, where are you going to go? You're going to go on Zillow, right? So if we can stay in the game long enough to create a massive brand, and then whenever somebody has a doubt in their mind, like, hey, I might be entitled to this property, who are they going to call? Proper Air.
I love it. So what's the long-term play here for you?
The long-term play is to literally just continue on the asset recovery side of the business. We'll do wholesale for however long needed in order to continue for the business to stay alive. But at some point, we just want to scale the asset recovery side, right? Bring attorneys in-house, bring private investigators in-house. And obviously, you know this, we're solely in Miami-Dade.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to continue to expand. But as of right now, I'm good with just Miami-Dade. There's too many opportunities that we can't even take on. So I'm okay with gradual growth.
How much opportunity is there in Dade? Because it's a lot in just one county.
Like I said, we're coming across 10 of these opportunities a day, and that's that we don't have 100 drivers. We only have 2.
Sure.
So there's a lot of opportunity.
How many of these would you say you think the marketplace is in Dade?
How many?
If you had to guess, like how many of these problems at any given time?
Man,
The ballpark.
I would say for sure multiple 8 figures of these opportunities just sitting.
Oh, money. Yeah, I meant like thousands or what? People.
Thousands, in the thousands.
Properties.
Yeah, there's 1 million properties in Dade County.
Yep.
I would say in the thousands for sure. And that's that we only go after single family. So we're not looking at condos, but I'm sure you can use the exact same process for those kind of properties and uncover a whole bunch of situations there.
I bought a bunch of condos in the same way. I hate condos, but big opportunity with the assessments now. But for somebody that wants to go do that, I'm not going to go do that.
Yeah.
Commercial too, Commercial has opportunities just like that. They're far and few in between, but people die in commercial.
Yeah.
Heirs don't want shit in commercial. Like if an heir inherited this thing and it's dilapidated, it's abandoned, it's run poorly, there's bad, management. These problems are bigger. Like an office building like this.
Yeah.
Because everything goes faster. Property taxes on this thing are $100K a year versus a house that's $10K a year, It's a lot different, but I love the commercial side because people always make that assumption. It's like, oh yeah, rich people in commercial don't have these issues. I'm like, bullshit. They don't die. They don't have IRS problems. They don't have partnership disputes. They don't have divorces.
Happens all the time.
They don't have evictions.
Everybody.
Everybody has. Humans have problems. Right? If there's a human in real estate, there's a deal to be done. If there's enough of an issue. Right? Depends on where you want to buy it.
That's the position that we want to take in the marketplace. Are there people doing the same thing that we're doing? Probably. Do I know anybody who's done it at scale? No. So that's the moat that we're trying to build around the business, and that's how we're trying to build it.
Personally, I think for sure you're gonna need tech. That's your biggest linchpin there.
Yep.
You need tech for what you're doing, because doing it the way that you're doing is great, and it'll work until it won't. But in order to get scale and speed to market and real market share, you're going to need tech.
No, we literally have no leverage in any department of the business. Like on the marketing side, it's extremely I mean, it's unleveraged. It's step by step.
Slow.
So right, there's no tech there, right? On the sales side, I'm not selling one to many, right? People aren't reaching out, like we're having to grind and do cold calls. So there's not a lot of leverage there. On the delivery side, there's not a lot of leverage either, right? These things take time, and that's something that we continue to work on. Like, how can we continue to decrease the time?
Yeah.
Go through a couple of these processes, get the timeline down packed, and then just set up automations. Do whatever you could to continue to decrease the time.
I think I mean, we could talk off camera, but I just, one of my buddies designed like this really badass AI that has nothing to do with me, but for driving for dollars, and it's real. It's like badass.
It could do what you could do.
Yeah, but like badass. It was impressive, and it actually drove it in Miami. I have a login. I'll show it to you, but I drove it in Miami-Dade County, and I was like, this is not. Now the question is, can you plug in the SOPs? Which yes,
and
you
do
can.
the PI work. That's the core component, because that's where the money is made. Finding the individual, understanding the legal, and then finding the individual.
Bro, like, look, I'll give you an example. Like, we're using AI, and Bobby Castro talked about it. I wrote it down 11 times. He mentioned AI 11 fucking times on that call. When a guy that's worth $1 billion mentions something 11 times, I pay attention. After roasting me. So, before and during. Dude, AI, like, we just incorporated it into our CRM for the education side and on my Instagram. Dude, Antonio, it's fucking dope. Like, it's dope for setters, And to have full-fledged conversations, like, we ran all of reverse flip through it and all the questions and answers through school. So now when people ask questions on Instagram, it's pulling from that database. Bro, I went into the chat just for kicks. It's like explaining what a deed is and what the process is and how you do it and why you get it. And the fact that there's no competition, you can't get circumvented. And I'm like, what the? Like, this thing is... So I think that for you, for sure, there's no denying it. Because that'll be your enterprise value, in my opinion. That'll be the enterprise, because now you can link, like, hey, this is a proprietary process driven by tech, scale,
Yeah, and all the biggest companies in our space, like that's one thing I've done. I've always tried to just go upstream, study the companies or the guys that have made it all the way to the top, and like, how did they build theirs? The top wholesale operations in our industry, they had to have, at some point, added the tech component to drive more enterprise value, because otherwise, what are you really selling?
That's really a moat. Because now, bro, to do what you do and to do what I do, a PE firm would be like, we're never going to learn all that shit. Like, we'd have to physically train all these people that could go anywhere.
Yeah.
But if you can integrate it with tech, and it doesn't have to be 100%, but really damn near close, you're done. You're done, because that's why people go to Zillow.
Yeah.
Because of the algorithm with the zest of it.
That's why they're worth $20 billion.
That's right. And that's why they could buy all these homes and lose $250 million a quarter and still be worth a fuck ton of money. Right? And not really drive revenue. Like, it's bananas to me.
They see it differently.
They see it differently because they wanted market share. They wanted to capture the data. That's what they wanted. They wanted the sellers, and they wanted the buyers, and they wanted the agents. Because that's an ad platform now. Now the agents pay them for leads, and they're in the lead gen business. But I think for sure you streamline some tech around that. Like, even the docket, right? Like, we're experimenting with some AI agents to go through the docket. Like, what is it called? Manus? Manus.
Yeah.
Bro.
Is that Google's?
Is it Google's? No, I think it's like Chinese, no? Yeah, fucking Chinese, bro. Manus is like AI on steroids, but Manus is more like an individual. It's like it's an agent. Yeah. And you can literally tell Manus, I want you to go build me a landing page like this. And Manus goes, like, it's clicking like you through all the actual tasks, and it pops out a freaking page. So we're experimenting to see, like, all right, I want you to go find me the probate documents and find me da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
That's massive.
And it'll go taka-taka-taka-taka-taka. Because, they're PDF readers. So you have to go through the document. You know how it is. Dude, if you could get that, because think about how much workload. The processing time goes from 30 days to whatever, I don't know, 10 days. I mean, that's a 66% increase, right?
That's massive.
Yeah.
We came across a lead yesterday where it had been 12 years that the individuals didn't do anything with the house. Like, they had gone through probate. They never claimed the property because they had a reverse mortgage. And the house has just been sitting under the individual that passed away 12 years ago's name. We called, made them aware. There's a lot of opportunity.
And the bank doesn't even know about it.
No, the reverse mortgage companies, a lot of the time, they never find out.
They'll never know. That's why, because the reverse mortgage is supposed to get triggered when the death happens.
Yeah.
So the clerk of courts does it. Was it in a state of?
Yeah.
See, they don't even know. Dude, bro, when we were doing a lot of short sales, we would contact the banks, and the banks would be like, no, we don't have that loan. We're like, well, here's your mayor's number, which is like the social for our loan. And they would find it, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, you're right. Thanks for that. Like, I'm like, bro, you just got a $400,000 loan just sitting out. And they have hundreds of thousands of just shit out there that's just sitting. Because of bank mergers, too. Wachovia goes into WAMU, Wells Fargo, boom, boom, Chase, like countrywide, right? All that shit from 07, 08. But so anyway, if for the younger guys usually that are watching and girls, what kind of advice would you give them if you could go back to your younger self now?
Stop thinking you know it all. Either decide to go work for somebody who's been where you want to go. And if you don't want to go that route because you want to be your own boss, which I hate that liner.
It's not. It doesn't pay as good as you think.
Yeah, it's not sexy.
It's really not.
if you want to go out on your own, get coaching from the very beginning and never stop getting coaching. That's it.
That's it? Okay. What's your biggest lesson you've learned so far in the last 4 years?
The last 4 years is focus.
Focus.
Focus, yeah. Yeah, because once I made that transition from police officer to windows and doors, because I remember I had both going on at the same time, I thought that it was always okay to have multiple things going on. So I had to unlearn that lesson and then lost my ass, as we spoke about. And it's just, there's layers to focus, right? There's focus on business. I learned, last year the focus to marketing channels. There's layers to it, so I would say focus.
Yeah, focus is, God, it's such an easy word, but it's everything.
Yeah.
Because you're so focused. Sometimes you're so focused, like me too. Sometimes you get so focused that you get unfocused. I know it's a mind fuck, but you really do.
Yeah.
Because you focus so far, like me with the short sales. It's like, no, this is the one.
Well, that's literally, we're on a downward trajectory compared to last year. I'm like, how is that? I've gotten better as an entrepreneur. Our team is more talented. I'm like, what is the business model? So I got extremely focused, which I don't want to lose the aspect of me getting that focus. But I'm like, the business model is just off. I got to make tweaks. You don't quit, which is probably what I would have done back in the day. Not quit, but I would have bounced to another business.
Yeah.
Right? You double down. You continue to try to figure out the puzzle.
Yeah. No, that's what it is, bro. And it's funny. The more something magical happens when you stay in something for an extended period of time, especially when it sucks, that you find something within there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks different for everybody, but like when my workouts suck sometimes, which they mostly do, and I want to just like I'm done, but you stay with it. I have some of the best workouts I've ever had, and I have the best mindset I've ever had, right? And I have the best recovery ever. And that's another thing too. I'm not a big downtime guy.
You don't believe it?
No, I really don't. I mean, I think you look, it is important. I'm a human too. I'm not superhuman, okay? Like, there's time and places for it. I'm just saying how people try to frame it where it has to be like a balance and this and that and it has to come at a certain time, da-da-da. Dude, I take it where I could get it. Like, that's what I believe in. My end of my night routine is the same because I enjoy it. I cold plunge and I sauna in my backyard. And that little 15 minute little time, I pray and I do my affirmations inside the sauna. That's like my me time, that's my download time, if you will, right? And then the mornings are mine too. That's why I get up at 4:30. I get up at 4:30 because I know my day's going to suck mostly. Like suck is relative, but you know what I mean? Like it's going to be, once I get into the office till the end of the day, it's go time. Everybody's coming at me. I'm getting all these different angles, right? I look like these Nikes just kind of like looking down. But that time in the morning is my shit. I get to, be with my dog, the cat now, and be by myself. Boom. I might journal or whatever. I go to the gym. I decompress. I do my thing. I have my coffee, which I really enjoy, my espresso.
Yep.
I drive. I listen to my book. I make my Instagram, whatever it is. but that's like my me time. I run into some guys at the gym, talk some shit, whatever. I work out. I'm usually alone, right? I'm a loner in that regard. I don't like to work out with people. I really don't like to do stuff. I don't like people in general.
No, there's no better feeling, man. There's no better feeling than leaving it all out there. Like the first decade of my life was I left it all out there when it came to basketball.
Yeah.
I didn't go play college basketball, but I left it all out there. And I remember, like, once I graduated, I was like, man, I'm not going to go play college basketball. But I, like, kind of how Kobe felt. I look back and I was like, I am so glad that I left it all out there and I gave the game everything I had. So I'm like, well, if I can feel like that now, let me just apply that towards business. I feel like that at the end of my life, you know?
Yeah.
So there is no better feeling, in my opinion.
No, dude, look. When people ask me now, they're like, how come you got out of wholesaling? And I'm like, dude, I'll be honest with you. I left everything out on the field. Like, I don't miss it. Yeah. I did 500-600 transactions. I don't think anybody can sneeze at that. I certainly made my dent in the marketplace, and it made me the version that I am today, and I'm forever grateful for it. But you go from high school to D1 to the pros to the Hall of Fame to coaching to whatever it is. There is always another Everest, you know. So for me, it's like, dude, I'm happy with it. You know, however people want to consider me in the marketplace, I don't give two shits, right? I don't care about you. I can assure you that. Because you don't think about me, I don't think about you. But, dude, I moved on to something else. You know, there's an elevation to that.
I would always tell you that during
what?
when you're coaching me. I'd always tell you, I'm like, man, this is beneath you.
Yeah. And again, it's and I appreciate it. You know, it is. But sometimes too, one thing I learned at 34 now, your identity gets wrapped up in a lot of shit. It was very hard for me to leave wholesale. You know, at the beginning, when I started thinking about it. But that thought was probably in my head for about a year and a half before I actually made the physical move. But I knew it, dude. I was already at the masterminds, and I'm listening to, you know, all the guys just like it had been me. And now I'm running the breakout room. I'm the moderator, right? Because I've been there so fucking long that they're like, bro, you know what you're doing. Just do it. And I love helping guys, right? And adding value. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You know, like very direct. But I just remember looking around the room and I'm like, man, I'm tapped, bro. I don't know. That happens at a different stage for everybody. Mm-hmm. But I was like, yo, I'm done. Like, you can have it. I'm good. I've earned it. Like, I'm done, you know? Like, I have buddies that retire out of the military. They're like, brother, you can have it. I'm done. Like, I did my shit. I'm done. And then, of course, you take that skill set, you know, like going back to the beginning, I think it's an amazing skill set. If you could be a successful wholesaler, you can basically run any business, anytime, any place, anywhere, because it's marketing and sales, and then people. It's just a matter of how far you want to take it, you know, and there's tons of wholesalers that in South Florida specifically, they make $500,000 a year if they really make that. $1 million a year, 2-3 million, right? That's kind of a little bit more rare. And then you have the ones that sit on top that are like, okay, these guys pushed it to $5, $7, $10 million a year. That's its own echelon. But you're at different tiers of business. You're not in the business anymore. You're in the business of people now.
Yeah.
You're in the business of systems and processes. The real estate just comes along with it. You know, it's not that though anymore. It's how efficiently can you scale. It's how well can you systemize your business. And ultimately, the problem with the wholesale business for like an exit, which I don't foresee anybody doing, and trust me, I tried. It's got no enterprise value in that regard, you know. But it's a damn good business to point at something else. Like, I look back at my time now. And I think back and I'm like, man, I wish I would have pointed at commercial sooner. Because that's the same vehicle.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Same
like,
skill set.
Yeah, with you. You saw the pivot. You're like, oh, wait a minute. This prop shit with heirs and, you know, partitions and probates, let me look over here, right? But you had to do it to say, okay. The cash conversion kind of sucks over here. Let me open this up, but I'll keep this because this is the long-term thing that's going to be fueled by the short-term thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep. What
are you excited about now?
Man, I always get a kick out of just working every single day. Like, I still work Monday through Sunday.
Good, baby!
My schedule since I mean we've been together hasn't changed, so I still work all the time. I just enjoy what I do, but I have a much longer time horizon now. Like I'm not trying to exit this in 2 years. It's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be tough, but I'm trying to build something that the space hasn't really seen before. So that's gonna take time. That's gonna take a lot of time, and yeah, I'm here for it, man. I love business. I say it all the time. I'm so glad that I found this. Yeah. And to be honest, I don't care what kind of business it is. I've always been the type that I like business in general. It doesn't matter whether it's windows and doors or wholesale, whatever the case is. I really enjoy business.
Have you ever read the book Infinite Game?
I have not, no.
You should read it. Because it talks about, there's finite games and then there's infinite games. Business is an infinite game. Yeah. That's what I said this today. I love business because business is a game that doesn't have timeouts. It doesn't have huddles. It doesn't have playbooks. It doesn't have play-by-play.
It doesn't have an off-season.
It doesn't have an off-season.
The most competitive
It
game,
doesn't have a halftime
opinion.
show. There's no band that comes out and Beyonce comes and shakes her ass in the middle of the show and then you get a little hoorah speech. Dude, it's 24/7 and it's multiple balls at all times that as soon as you go boom, you get hit, the ball goes that way and it's like punt return. But there's no downs. You know what I'm saying?
It reveals so much character.
It does.
And like I said, the earning is directly attached to the learning. If you don't want to learn anymore, that you'll stop earning.
Oh yeah, you'll cap yourself real quick. Yeah, and people get so frustrated about that stuff where they're like, "Man, I'm just not progressing." I'm like, because you stopped progressing. Yeah. How did you think that was gonna happen? Like, dude, even Bobby on the call yesterday heard something from Tim Bratz, and he was like, "I saw the man. He's worth $1 billion." He's like, "Tim, that was so awesome. I didn't even think about doing a captive insurance policy like that. Oh my God, this would save me $1.5 million a year. Thank you for that, Tim." And I'm like, bro, this guy just, I'm like, but he's still learning. Yeah. He's still learning. He's in a mastermind and he talked briefly on it, R360, which don't quote me on this, but if I heard him correctly, it's $250,000 a quarter. Okay. First of all. Second of all, you have to have a verifiable third-party audit, $100 million net worth, and you have to go through a series of like 4 interviews, and they deny like 4 or 5 billionaires a year. There's 100 people. Like, just next level shit.
Those are the rooms, yeah. Those are the rooms that I eventually want to be in.
Yeah, 100, and I'll see you in that room, bro. I'll see you in that room. Well, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming out.
Long overdue, and this was sweet.
It was, man. It was. Where can
awesome.
people catch you? Because you're putting out content now too.
Yeah, so
which I love. One
of the biggest things I had asked you, I was like, man, if you can go back to my age, what's one thing that you would have done sooner? And you're like, content.
I
said, say less. So yeah. I started doing content. So Instagram, Oscar Quintana __.
Okay.
That's where people could catch me, and yeah, putting out all the lessons, all the failures, thought processes, how I'm winning, etc. All that, I'm putting it out there.
Yeah. No, I actually really love your content because you're being very raw and very real, and you actually hop on calls with some guys for free just to make content, but you explain it to them.
I have people reaching out to me trying to JV. I'm like, I don't want to get distracted, but what I'm willing to do every once in a while, we now are doing it once a quarter, is get on a 3-hour call, 15-minute slots for each individual, and ask away.
I love it, dude. I love it. The way to pay it forward too.
For sure.
You enjoying that?
I do, man. Honestly, because same way you did, I get to see people who are now getting started or struggling, and I get to point them in the right direction. So it always feels good to give back.
Yeah. That's it, bro. And he's a giver too. And ladies, he's single. That's the thing. You're dating now. Or you're trying to date now.
No, I am.
No, you're dating now.
So I wouldn't say I'm single.
How's that going?
Good, man. Yeah. Good, yeah. I mean,
so he's not single.
I applied the safe sales process to the dating process.
He got the funnel going.
Literally.
Swipe.
It's swipe. You copy and paste the same text message. I'll tell you what it is. So this is not a dating show, but you guys.
Oh my God!
I'll let you in on this. So the message is, hey, so and so. The way that I work is I like to get on FaceTime calls. That way we can skip the small talk and see if there's a vibe. Right? So then if I get a number, I'll schedule out a FaceTime call for that night. And yeah, if that goes well, then we'll do something very, very tiny, like an ice cream date or something like that. And if that goes well, you'll do a dinner date. But that's a sales process that's worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are you got any prospects now, or what's going on?
Well, it takes like for every 10 FaceTime calls, you get an ice cream date. A
You
lot
get a
of time
contract.
you're just like, there's really nothing here.
I got it.
Some good looks.
Yeah, some good looks.
Yeah, no, yeah, but yeah, you just gotta filter.
You just gotta. So he's averaging better on the dating side than he is in real estate.
Yeah.
1 in 10 versus 1 in 17.
1 in 10, yeah, and then you just gotta set expectations.
Set expectations.
I know what I want. I know where I'm going. So share that vision and see if it's the same vision for the other person. This is not a dating show.
This is definitely not a dating show. I'm a fucking disaster
we
before
might not put
Savannah
this
on that. We may or may not. I don't know. It might be the hook. I don't know. They're gonna be like Flippin SoFlo, the dating edition. Be like how Will turns guys into fucking filter magnets.
How Will's sales process translates to dating.
Yes, done.
That's the hook.
Reverse dating.
Reverse dating. I like that.
That's what it's gonna be. Reverse swiping.
Yeah.
That's what it's gonna be.
That's funny. Man.
Good for you, man. I'm happy for you, bro. I really want this to be in the show. I can't say it enough. I am extremely proud of you. People throw around the term protege, like, cause you're your own guy. But I mean it. Like, whenever I hear that, people are like, "Oh, bro, that's a little you." You know, it really, really like touches my heart to hear that, cause you wanted it, you saw it, you went after it, you continue to go after it. I respect the shit out of you because you respect the craft. And as a guy that put a lot of time into the craft, I respect that because I love the game. I like to think more than anybody. Yeah. And to see you care for the game in the same way, that's the ultimate compensation for me, for sure.
That's what I've always admired about you.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
For sure.
Thank you. All right. Well, that's a wrap, bro.
That's a wrap.
That's it. Done.